What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another live stream of Let's Get Nuts here on Sunday. We've got a lot of news to talk about. We got a figure giveaway announcement for the Ben Thomas show at the end of the show. So if you can stick around to the end, we're going to do a member giveaway announcement and we're going to talk a little bit about a subscriber giveaway announcement. But today we've got Hot Toys news, we've got entertainment news. I want to talk about my feelings on what I'm seeing with the Crow. And I gotta say, I've got the right guest in here because Kelvin, aka Low-Key Collector, is with us. And he's got some thoughts too, and I'm excited to hear what those are. So guys, stick around, of course. If you like the video, hit the like button for me if you can. Smash the subscribe if you're new to the Ben Thomas Show. And of course, let's get nuts.
What are you doing? You're completely outnumbered here. Are you nuts? You want to get nuts? You want to get nuts?
You want to get nuts?
You want to get nuts? You want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts. Let's get nuts.
Let's get nuts.
Let's get nuts. Let's get nuts.
Already. So, we have 17 people here. I love your faces. Thanks for joining in. We have our first panelist of today. Some of you guys might know him as a fact checker. Some of you guys might know him as Jose G. Hernandez or Jose Plus. Let's bring him out. How's it going, good sir? Good to see you, man.
What's up, man? Yeah, the fact checker thing is catching on a lot, man. Everyone's yeah, because I tend to do that a lot. So sorry if it gets annoying, but I want to keep things straight, you know, and want to make sure that you guys are providing the accurate information out there. So
I appreciate that because while the show is called Let's Get Nuts, and I don't want to take it too seriously, right? I want people to have fun, and even if we're talking about what Eddie likes to call nothing burger news, but still create some inspirational thought and discussion, I'm okay with that. But sometimes when we're looking at like very clearly a fake photo, it is good to know that it's a fake photo. So
yeah,
always happy, and maybe you have an opportunity to rebrand yourself at some point, depending. But I like the crispy haircut for the Sunday show.
Thank
here,
you.
buddy.
Yeah,
thanks for.
I did it for you, man. I did it for you.
For me, the folks out there watching all over the world love to see it. So we've actually been getting a lot of engagement lately from from England, like Europe, some from Cuba and Thailand. Lots of cool places in the world. If you guys can, in the comments, let us know in the world about where you are. I think that would be cool to see. But of course, it's not a Sunday if it's not a little classy in here, right? And one might say one individual brings the absolute class to the show. Let's bring him out here. We got Classy Thomas, SpongeBob Square Bowels in the chat with us here and panel. Hey. Good to see you, buddy. How's it going?
Good to be here. How you doing?
Man, I'm so happy you came in. Honestly, guys, I'm not kidding. Today, I literally thought I was going to run the show by myself. Like, literally, like, right up to the 11th hour, I had no panelists, and these guys were like, yeah, I'll jump in, send me the link. So thank you for being here so I didn't have to talk to myself
Ben,
today.
you got to remember, I'm old. I don't check all that newfangled stuff that you young people do about looking at the Instagrams and the face paces and all that stuff. I do the I'm old school. Send me a text message or give me a call.
Earlier you said send you an email, and I was like, I don't think I have your email.
I said email. Yeah, I meant like one of those. I don't know. Just if you need me, contact me. I'm here.
I'm gonna start putting a classy bat signal in the air, and I'm just hoping you'll see it from Canada. That's the way we're gonna start it up.
Maybe Classy has one of those AOL instant messaging. You can reach him there.
That's awesome. Well, buddy, good to see you here. Happy to see you. Lights in the background look crispy. I'm loving that Kingpin with the Spider-Man as well. We got lots to talk about today too, buddy, and I'm excited to get your take because it's been a little while, I feel like, since we've had you on the show with us. Mm-hmm. So now, this person requires virtually no introduction. Let's be honest. Some might know them as low-key. Sometimes they're high-key. Let's be honest. But either way, the man is awesome, and I'm happy to have him here. We got Calvin, aka the Low-Key Collector, with us. Good to see you, buddy. How's it going?
I prefer to be much more low key than high key. So I'm gonna keep it subdued and just stay on this side of the line.
That's fair. That's fair.
Happy to be here with you guys. And it's funny that Thomas said that because I find myself in the sweet spot. I'm old enough to be on that, like, oh, just call me or text me. but I'm still young enough to know how to go and do the extras as well. So I'm right in the sweet spot. So
Heck yeah.
I understand, Thomas.
Well, and it's funny too, when I think of high key, I think of around the time that I hit puberty. I was at a hockey game. You know, us Canadians, we go to a lot of hockey games. And I was right at that, pinnacle stage where a man's voice starts to change slightly. And I went to yell, "Shoot the puck!" And like my whole voice changed into this high key, and everybody in the stands around me laughed, and I was mortified. I was like 13, maybe 12 or 13, mortified. So that's what I think of when I think of high key, is the time I embarrassed myself at a hockey game. You love to see it, but Calvin, I'm happy to have you here, buddy. And like I said in the intro there, I am excited to hear what you think about The Crow, because we've sent each other a couple of like, oh my god faces, but I don't know if it's a good one or a bad one, so stick around for that. Now, we also have one final very special guest, somebody who's been with us right from the beginning. He's also pretty classy, let's be honest. But for me, I think it's because he's got a wonderful accent that we love to cling to. It's Pete from Only Fools and Collecting, a division of Collecting Weekly. Good to see you here, buddy.
Evening, chaps.
What's up, man? Good to see you, man.
How you doing?
How you doing, sir?
Yeah.
Happy to have you back, buddy. Happy to have you
good,
back.
thank you. Good. I'll just say how much I enjoyed the wrestling. You guys were there right at the end.
Yeah.
Oh,
know.
yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
and
that
somehow I got tossed out, which I'm like, I'm a pretty big guy. I don't
Yeah,
know how that
well,
happened.
I tossed Dean out, so I'm happy with that.
Hey, the Let's Get Not crew, we
did.
were the final three,
Yes.
man.
Yeah,
It was
I loved seeing the Let's Get Nuts logo on your pants as you were fighting
yeah,
Austin.
we're,
at the end there.
yeah, we're still a tag team, man. We're still a tag team. We're still part of the same crew, so.
It was very awesome. That's a really fun show to watch, honestly. Every time he does one of them, I always crack a rum and coke, smoke one, and and get ready to watch like what feels like all my friends all fight in the ring, right? And it's super fun. So, but Pete, I'm happy to have you here, buddy.
Austin, I want my title shot.
Yeah.
Title shot.
Happy
It's
to
gonna
be
coming.
here.
It's going to be coming. And I mean, those shows must just take an absolute astounding amount of work. So I'd be curious
Yeah.
to see the back end. Hopefully, if Nick's _ collectibles ends up becoming like monetized at some point, he should do like a members only video of like the behind the scenes, how he creates it and how he customizes the characters and stuff. Because even some of the likeness is like on point. Like some of them are crazy. I'm not nearly as muscular as my character portrays me to be, but I'll take the compliment. I'll take the compliment.
Yeah, I want a wrestling icon, a guy with a little top hat like the Planters Peanut top hat guy.
100%. 100%. Now, we got almost 30 people already in the chat. I will check in with you guys really shortly. I do see your comments rolling through. Definitely good to see you guys here. As you know, here, as is tradition for Let's Get Nuts, we like to start with a warm-up. And this one is not figure-related really in any way this time, or even entertainment news-related, but I was in the mall the other day, and I walked past this display. And this is called the Super Puff jacket. And this jacket was, I'm not kidding, bigger than me. Like it's literally the biggest jacket I've ever seen. And so I had to take a picture of it. And it got me thinking, man, I'm really old now because I don't even know what fashion sense is anymore, right? Like I wear a gray hat with my plaid shirt every Sunday. That's about it for me. But I did think back to when I was a younger man and all of the weird fashion choices I made. And so I'm curious, of the weird fashion choices of the world, what was one that stood out to you guys in your youth that you now look back and go, I can't believe I wore that? So I'll start. One for me was definitely the bell-bottom jeans with the big flared out, legs at the bottom. And then back then, NSYNC, and I think it was the band B44 was really popular, and they had like the blue spikes. Problem is, like for their hair, problem is that I've actually got pretty curly hair when I grow it out. And so I would dippity-do the absolute shit out of my hair, and it would always just immediately fold and kind of look like the Mr. Noodle haircut that Justin Timberlake rocked for a while. So when I look back, pretty bad. I also had a hoop earring back then. Didn't realize thankfully it was not at the time kind of the side that you're not supposed to wear it on apparently, but still the hoop earring, the crispy noodle hair, and the bell bottom jeans. bad look. Now, Classy, you've shared some interesting photos with us in the past. In fact, on this show, we saw what you looked like as Frankenfurter.
That's right.
What's one fashion
got great
choice
legs.
there you go. What's one fashion choice you made when you were younger that you look back and go, oh my god, I can't believe I wore that shit? And let us know in the chat as well, guys.
All right. In the 70s, it would be leisure suits, double troubles, and bell bottoms. Double troubles, if you don't know, double trouble. I had a pair of double trouble hip huggers, and when I was a kid, before I lost a whole bunch of weight, I had a lot of junk in the trunk, and so hip huggers, really, whatever. And the double troubles were the pants that had a zipper on each side that you could zip down. And I remember them double troubles did give me trouble getting up over that junk in the trunk. So I'll tell you what, those were the days. And then in the 80s, oh man, it was, you name it, in the 80s. But the one thing that I really look back on where I don't know if anybody remembers the United Colors of Benetton.
I don't remember.
Well, I had a pair of Benetton and those neon colors, and I had a pair of cross-colored jeans that had the graffiti all over it. But instead of, back in my day, we used to wear jeans that kind of had that pleat in the front, so you had that extra room in the thighs. They weren't straight legs; they were like, but man, that was not a look. It was a look, but it was not a look. And fortunately, I don't have a picture of myself in any of those looks. Okay, the United Colors and the cross colors and everything like that. That was college, and my college days are. That was before social media. If you wanted to take a picture, you had to be intentional and bring out a camera. And I was very, very adept at avoiding cameras during those.
And then actually go and get the film developed and
exactly,
everything.
yes.
Hoping the person doesn't judge you for your photo.
I've still got a box full of negatives that
Nice.
if I went back and started getting those things developed, I could make some money off of extortion. I really could.
Future member content on the SpongeBob SquareBalls YouTube channel. Stay tuned. So awesome answer, buddy. Pete, what about you? What's one fashion choice you made back in the day that you're like immediately regret now looking back?
I was just trying to think. I'm not sure I regret them because I was, a kid at the time. But
Sure.
I know when I was growing up in the 80s, a couple of things that spring to mind. White jeans, which were just an absolute nightmare because as soon as second you kind of were playing football and you skidded over on the grass or something, just completely green. And also we used to wear odd-coloured luminous socks. So there was a lot of neon and luminous in the 80s. So you'd have like one orange one and one green one, or a yellow and a green. I don't know why, but it was a thing for quite a few years. And I certainly used to wear odd luminous socks. But
That's awesome.
Luminous
socks. That's a new one for me. I don't know if I've heard that. What about you, Jose? What's an old school fashion choice that you made? Maybe it was even recently that you were like, I don't think I should have done that.
Recently, I can't really think of. I'm very kind of like you, just like But when I was younger, I was really into the baggy jeans, the baggy pants, the Dickies, super super big, oversized shirts. So usually that's what I wore.
Did you have
and looking back at it,
chain hanging down the?
No, I never wore chains.
Okay.
No, I thought I looked dumb back then. I already looked dumb, but I thought I would look even more dumb, right? So, and then I would sag my pants all the way down, and now I look at kids doing that, and then I'm like, oh man, I get why my mom would be like, yo man, it looks like you have something, like a sagging diaper there, like I can see it now.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, and for me, I never wore a winter jacket. I was so against wearing a winter jacket for some reason, or a hat. And nowadays, it's I get earaches in the cold weather really quickly now. I think from all the years that I didn't wear a hat, and looking back, I'm look, I'm freezing my ass off out at the bus stop out there without a winter coat on.
You didn't wear one of those super puff jackets?
No,
I
no,
mean,
no, those super puffs.
You could
None
live
of
in
the
that
super
thing.
puffs.
It's amazing.
Richard
I had a
Miller.
similar experience because I would, I remember it was like middle school and I was carrying an umbrella. And a few buddies of mine were like, "Oh, you're afraid to get wet? What a bee!" And then so now it's like it's in my head, so I don't carry an umbrella. So when it's raining, I get wet.
Very nice, very nice.
Got to
My
wear a
mom-
jacket.
My mom's here in the chat. She says hot pants and platform shoes in the 70s. I've seen some of those photos. There are some
Wow.
good ones. There are
Wow,
some
yeah.
good ones. So
Imagine.
clearly, I get all my good looks from her. So we're lucky for me. Mr. Loki Calvin, what about you? I feel like you're a very fashionable dude. Have you ever had a time in your life where you're like, oh my god, I can't believe I wore that shit?
I am not fashionable. Outside of I like sneakers. I have nice sneaks. I love my shoes. But other than that, give me some hoodies, some shorts, and some sweats, and I'm good to go.
When you're good to go.
My wife hates it. The only time I get dressed up is if I have to get dressed up to go to dinner or something like that. But in my early years, I went to private school, so I had the uniform, so I had the whole slacks and vest and all that going on.
Nice.
Got to public high school, and after being in private school for so long, I didn't know what the hell to put on. So I just basically anything that I could just throw some shit together until I started getting into the popular crowd and then kind of start wearing, the Rocawears and the urban clothes. I never did sag though. I would buy pants that big enough they would fit my waist, but they kind of be a little lengthier to make it look like they were sagging. No, my parents, my grandparents didn't play that. They're like, you sagging your ass, I'll whoop your ass. So
Yeah, that's what a belt's for.
right.
No, Calvin, since you were sneakerhead, did you ever wear the you remember those super thick shoelaces? Now I know they were real popular back in the 80s. I don't know.
I'm sure I got into laces at some point because what's funny is freshman year in high school, my mom bought me my first $100 pair of Nikes, right? And she was a single mother, me and my baby brother, right? So and he was like 2 years younger than I am. So she's like, look, I'm not spending this type of money on shoes. You better get a job. And so what did I do? I went and got a shoe store job, and then which was followed by another shoe store job, followed by another shoe store job. I literally have worked at damn near every shoe store company you can think of. I've gone through hundreds of pair of shoes in my lifetime. And then I would come home with shoes and she would be like, I can't say shit because you got a job. So, but I'm sure at some point I did get into the laces.
Awesome answers, boys. Thank you so much for that. And I'm seeing some great ones come through the chat. I'm going to read a couple of those here in a moment. But yeah, I don't think I would buy the Super Puff for me, but I'd be curious if there's anybody out there in the chat that may have bought one. Like Mario. I could totally see Mario rocking a Super Puff. Totally the case.
All you'd
Good to
see
you,
is
bud.
like
Absolutely.
a pair of feet coming out the bottom.
That's right.
I bet you that thing would keep you warm in Canada, though.
No pants even required. Don't worry about it. No
There
pants.
you go.
Yeah. Right on. Now, guys, let's keep moving here. Before I read some of the chat, I just wanted to highlight one thing. Now, I don't think I've seen him in the chat yet. One of our members here, 14 Wellington and subscribers, saw this picture that I posted the other day. So on the right is a picture of my Neo. I decided to switch up the look a little bit. Previously, I had him doing a cartwheel from kind of that bank scene with the big gun. And I wanted to try and pull off the bullet time scene. And I really liked the pose. I was very proud of it. So I posted it on my, my Instagram and my Facebook and everything. And I'm not kidding. It had to have been like 8 minutes later. 14 Wellington posts this and shares it with me. And I just wanted to share it with you guys because to me this is the magic of the internet. You know what I mean? Like somebody out there in the world is just like randomly taking a photo from my Instagram and turning it into a Miley Cyrus. It came in like a wrecking ball Matrix figure, and I loved this. So guys, any post I ever post, feel free. If you're a subscriber of mine, a member of mine, I don't even care if it makes me laugh. I will show it on this stream because it is really fun. So
That's a great
you.
pose. What's holding him up?
Yeah.
It is actually a figure stand. So the figure, you can see like at the base of the diamond here, he's at like front facing. It's a dynamic flight pole that I've bent like crazy.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
with the clamp on the waist, and then I've hid the whole pole behind his coat. And so it looks very much like he's literally hovering in that air pose.
Yeah.
And I looked through it a couple times. Like the picture on the left isn't quite the inspiration, but it was at least close. There's the one point like before he sticks his head back to let the bullet kind of fly over his face. He's looking kind of forward, and so I liked that better, at least for the figure, because you could see the head sculpt just a little bit better. But But yeah, no, it's a fun pose, and honestly, like it's amazing how reposing figures brings them back to life for me. I was starting to get a little bit bored with it.
Yeah.
You know, take it out for a couple hours, watch a show, watch a stream, watch a movie. I think I was watching whose was it? Oh, it was some of LWO last week, and yeah, just figure posing and having some fun. So repose your figures, people, if you start getting bored with them, because you might create some magic and some things you like. But
I
good
like
on
playing
you
those
for thinking about
soundtracks too. If you have like,
Yeah.
like if they have a great score
Yes.
or soundtrack, play the soundtrack of that particular character's
Absolutely.
movie or whatever, then that helps.
And Bob Dylan was like, you need that bullet time effect from the new like Matrix figure that came out, right? Like that would be pretty cool. I see 12-inch Moose saying the same thing. But yeah, the soundtrack definitely gets me amped up as well. And the Matrix soundtrack was
probably the reason why that he picked this picture was because, come on, admit it, you were playing Wrecking Ball when you were posing them, weren't you?
awesome. Miley Cyrus, of course. Yeah,
That's
who doesn't?
right. I
Who
thought
doesn't?
so.
Yeah. Okay. Guys, let's read out the Tough Nut crew. If you want to become a member of the Ben Thomas Show, it definitely helps. $1.99 a month. It helps towards channel giveaways, which we're actually going to talk about today. What the giveaway for members is going to be and what the giveaway for subscribers is going to be. These are the current members of the channel, and I always like to highlight the Tough Nut crew. We've got Alvin J collecting weekly, Money Mendez, 6 Scale Mafia, Katera, Feezy's Figures, King Dingling, 6th Scale Collector, Paul Schreiber, The Batman, The Movie Canon, 1/6 Figure Focus, SpongeBob Square Balls, The Empire Strikes, Peter Kess, Ryan Smith, Collector Joey, Sam Gist, 14 Wellington, Jose G. Hernandez, 12-inch Moose Stream, Collection Obsession, Blurred Dad Life, and our newest member from last week, Danny Spotchka, is now on the list. You guys can see that I'm putting all of your upgraded little badges beside your names as they progress through the tiers. If you're interested to see what some of the new emojis are, I did update the emojis for channel members now. We've got now the Nutbuster in the emojis. If you guys see the Nutbuster, if you don't mind, pop a few Nutbusters in the chat for me to see what that looks like for everybody. Kind of cool. As well as the Venkman Nut. I've been meaning to get that on there. So these are all currently the emojis. If you guys have any nut-themed emojis you'd like me to create with the help of Dean the Dream Martin, let me know. And requests can come from members, and I'll absolutely consider it. Dean's not cheap. So some of those dollars for the membership goes towards Dean for his help. These are the badges that are currently upgraded for that membership. So up and comer, we got Bat Nut Begins, the Dark Nut. A lot of people are going to be hitting that Live Long and Nut pretty soon. And then, of course, at the year mark, the Terminator and Teenage Mutant Ninja Nutty Turtle at the 24-month. I do want to add a Darth Nut in there as well, Empire Strikes. So good suggestion. Feel free to leave me comments, guys, on the replay as well. If you are interested in becoming a member, the link is in the chat there. But guys, let's check in with the actual chat, of course. Let me just change over my screen here. Let's say hi to everybody.
Is that everyone? What do you wanted more?
Nuts!
Assemble.
All right, guys, and I did forget to say the figure giveaway we're going to do at 30 members. Right now we're at 24 members, so if 6 of you out there want to get in that member giveaway, it's going to be done at the 30 mark, just to make it fair. And of course, only 30 members. Your chances of winning a figure are pretty good. I would hope, anyways. Let's look
30.
at 1 in 30. 1 in 30 chance, pretty good. So we got Noble Young in the chat with some nut and money. You'll love to see it. 12-inch Moose Stream says, "Hello, community of collectors. Saw Dune 2 today. Very enjoyable." Yeah, I'm happy to talk about how much you guys liked Dune, but please don't do any spoilers. I still have not seen it myself. We got Batman _ collectibles with several nuts. Love to see it. We got the underscore Empire Strikes channel member here with a couple turtle nuts. Love to see it. We got Cylon X-Men. Hey everyone, let's go. Good to see you here, buddy. We got Figurecraft in the chat. Happy Sunday, y'all. Who watched Dune Part 2 this weekend? I hear it's good. I've heard it's the top rated film of all time, at least as of I think yesterday. I don't know if that's been able to maintain that spot, but we'll be curious to see. And happy birthday to Figurecraft on the 10th, I believe he said, or the 11th. We got Action Figure Academy here. He says, well, howdy, Benjamin. Good to see you, buddy. We've got Sith Scale Collector, one of our channel members here with what's up, everyone, and a nut. We got Tyria in the chat here. Excuse me, ma'am, your refrigerator is running. It is. Well, you better go catch it before it runs away. Love to see it. We got Eclectic Collector here with hello, everyone. Good to see you here. We got Thalia Meyer in the chat. What's going on, buddy? Hello, everyone, he says. Let's see here. Oh, yes, I am getting my lumberjack on, as is tradition for Sunday. We've got Rachel Miller in the chat. My mom says, hey, Ben, make sure you say hello to Rachel in the chat, everybody, if you can. Make her feel welcome. We got Thrawn's office here with a maximum nut. Love to see that. We got Gotham Cenobites. Haven't seen you in a week or two, bud. Good to see you back. Florida is where he's coming from with a beer. He'll love to see it. Jose G. Hernandez himself in the chat there with a hello chat and everybody. We've got Rick Duggins in the chat. Good to see you here, buddy. Is with a couple nuts as well. JB in the chat as well. Good to see you here. Says, hi all. Feeling rather cashew. Love to see it. And he's rocking the Joaquin Phoenix Joker look there, I see, which I think is kind of cool. So let's see who else. We got S-Beam in the chat. S-Beam, beam, as Leal would say. Hello all. Good to see you here. If you like S-Beam, he's got some wonderful content on his own channel. Make sure you check that out on YouTube. As well as he made appearance on Feezy's Figures show last night, which is a very enjoyable show. I watched it while I was on the road. Great guys over there as well. So, but yeah, go check out S-Beam if you haven't already. Some of his stop animation content with figures, really freaking cool. And takes a lot of work. I've tried to do it, and I gave up very quickly.
Did you stop? Did you stop?
I did stop too much, yeah. We got 12-inch Moose Stream here in the chat. We got Gilbert Almazan in the chat as well, saying super skinny jeans and emo hair was my thing. I love to see that. What else? Who else do we got? Have I got everybody? El Profesoro said hello. Good to see you, buddy. Happy to have you here. Action in the Box. Again, another content creator that has some wonderful photos of his display and how he creates literally scenes in a box. Like it is crazy. So if you guys haven't had a chance to go and check out him, make sure you subscribe to his content afterwards as well. Subscriptions are free, right? Subscribes are free. We got X-Men Supreme here in the chat. I made it to the Tom Benjamin show. Good to see you, buddy. We're going to be talking about The Crow today, and I have a feeling X-Men is going to have some thoughts on that as well. We got Collection Obsession, one of our channel members here in the chat. I'm late. What did I miss? You got to tell us what your fashion regret is from your past life, buddy. Let us know in the chat. Now, we got How You Figure as well, and he says, what's up, everyone? Hope you all are having a great Sunday. Just so you're aware, How You Figure also now has a YouTube channel. Lots of creators nowadays, but really love the sincerity behind his voice and his content. Go over after the show today. Give the man a subscribe if you can. I am going to invite How You Figure on a Let's Get Nuts Sunday coming up here. He already gave me the green light to do so. So we'll get a chance to grill him here. Nut grill him? Grill his nuts? No, none of that sounds right. But we'll have him on the show at some point. So stay tuned.
Please don't grill his nuts.
Nobody wants to grill anybody's nuts. He's like, I rescind my excitement. I'm not coming now. You hate to see it. Alex Vargas in the chat with a really cute dog. That actually looks like Marco's dog, Pancake, a little bit. But says, what's up, everyone? Got my Sideshow email a few days that my Vader will be shipping soon. Heck yeah, buddy. That's an awesome figure. Happy for you there. And I think that is everybody. If I missed anybody, please send me a message, and I'll make sure to get you highlighted up here on the screen. But guys, we're already 30 minutes in. Let's get into a couple pieces of entertainment news first, and then we've got a decent amount of figure stuff to talk about. Once again, if you want to become a member, one last time, it's in the chat. We need 30 members to do the figure giveaway, and you'll know what those figures are at the end of today's show. This popped up. Reporting from Variety, James Gunn reveals Superman Legacy title change on the first day of filming. So two things I'm really excited about here. First of all, the movie's filming. And I gotta say, I'm really excited about kind of the future possibilities of what the new DCU will look like, or DCU. But I was also curious what you guys think about the title change, because I'm not gonna lie, when Superman Legacy was first announced, I didn't love the title. I didn't love the addition of the legacy piece to it. It, to me, felt almost like alternate universe, like they didn't have to necessarily take it seriously if it didn't work out very well. With this change, they're literally going to call this movie now Superman. It's clean, it's crispy, I think it's going to pop. This is now obviously going to be the definitive Superman going forward, and I like that concept. And we also have the tease of what his Hope logo will look like on his chest. So, Jose, what do you think of the name change? First of all, do you think did it matter to you at all? Was it something that got you excited? And what are you thinking of the new look for the logo versus the Man of Steel one in the bottom right-hand corner?
That's a loaded question. I'm excited. It's disappointing everything that we could have had with Henry's version of Superman and never came to fruition. Up until what was at the end of Black Adam, what was at the end of 2021, there was even a tease that we were going to get more, right? And it never materialized. So that was really disappointing, and it's hard to kind of look forward to something when you still have that taste in your mouth. But this new version behind James Gunn could be something great, and I'm excited in seeing what he's going to do and starting fresh with a clean slate that doesn't have any other factors contributing to the DC universe. So I'm excited in that way. It's hard to tell about the emblem. All we know is that it's very Kingdom Come inspired, which is pretty cool. I mean, Brandon Routh, who was Superman in Superman Returns, he wore a very similar costume for the Crisis crossover that they had on the CW. So he wore a very similar costume. So the potential of a figure, if we do love the movie, that would be really cool to have a Kingdom Come inspired figure. So again, I'm excited. I'm a little bummed about Henry, and then Henry's logo. I mean, it's just iconic for me. So
Yeah.
it's hard to move forward, but it's exciting nonetheless.
Now, from my recollection of Kingdom Come, though, there has been I think a third-party figure that was done for
Yes.
Kingdom Come Superman.
So-
and it was
so.
a black and red logo, I think, right? Similar shape, but it was black and red from my recollection.
Yeah,
From the original, was it still yellow and red, or how did that look?
So in the comic book it is black and red, but Brandon Routh wore the black and red for the most of the show, and then at the end, once things have gotten better or he saw the light, he went back to the yellow and red, and he wore the yellow and red, but the same style of the
style.
S.
Yeah, I really like that look.
And the Superman Legacy part, I mean, the reason they called it Legacy was because it was based on, he was kind of using, I think it's Tom King who wrote the comic, the Superman Legacy, so he was using that as kind of the basis of inspiration for the movie. But dropping it, I mean, I really don't care. I mean, it's cleaner, right? Like Justin Timberlake says in The Social Network, just drop the and just Facebook.
Yeah,
So.
absolutely. Yeah, that makes sense. Great take. Classy Thomas.
Yes.
Quick thoughts on the name change, just to being straight Superman now, as well as, well, not straight Superman, just Superman, and the logo here that we're seeing on the left in comparison to what we got from Man of Steel. What are your thoughts?
I think that I agree with Jose. I think it's good to have it nice and clean. It's almost like having a clean start, and it reminds me of when Christopher Reeve's Superman came out, and I think it was just called Superman. So it's almost like going back to the roots to some degree.
Superman the movie, I think it was.
Oh, Superman the movie.
From my
Okay.
recollection.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay. Well, then this is the first actually just plain Superman. Then that's
I
cool.
think so.
So, and I love that emblem. That emblem is, I don't know. There's something in that kind of strangely, well, I mean, the shape of it, and then the way the emblem fits inside of it, it just it is very striking looking. So I'm excited to see this, and I've seen Corn Sweat act in a movie, and I think he can carry this. I really do. His presence is very similar, and strangely enough, he kind of looks a little bit like a younger version of Henry Cavill. I mean, he kind of has a similar look to him, so I don't find it too distracting. But I think I will be very excited to see this.
I think my biggest issue with David Cornsweet is his last name, and I know that sounds so stupid, but like hate the sound of it. It's just awful. However, if anybody was going to have corn sweat on them, it should be Clark Kent. Let's be honest.
Exactly. He was raised on the farm.
That's right. Calvin, any quick thoughts on the name change? Is it something that makes any difference for you, really, as a fan of DC? And what are your thoughts on the quick shot of the logo here?
No difference for me. I'm going into this completely blind. I'm hoping for the worst. Just prepared for whatever comes. I have no expectations for this. I'm biased. I was a huge Cavill fan. I don't think he was done right. I think they didn't give him enough chances to, like, we should have had a Man of Steel 2. There was just a lot that they left on the table with that. And so I love James Gunn. I think he's, for the most part, I've liked just about damn near everything he's ever done. Some things can be a little, you've been a little left with that, but for the most part, I'm in with him. I like the logo. I don't have anything against it. Like I said, I'm just a Cavill fan, so they have a lot of work to do to get me onto this other side. And then the cast is all over the place. I mean, we got like 1,000 characters for this first movie. I just want to see how it all works. So I know he's done great things with big cast before. So like I said, I give it to you. Let's see what you do with it.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? I think it's weird because so many films have a ton of cast members, but when it comes to like a DC property or a Marvel franchise, like we know all the names of a lot of those cast ahead of time, so it starts to feel like it's like, oh my god, like how many characters are actually in this movie? But like you said, well said, ensemble cast wise, I didn't know really anything about Guardians of the Galaxy before James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy, and that trilogy is easily one of my favorite trilogies of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I do have some faith there as well. We've got Shiny Shiny in the chat with a Superman dandruff picture. My God, that's some aggressive dandruff on that outfit. You hate to see it. How You Figure says, I trust James Gunn. Also, I like the logo. Enough of a change to make it different, but familiar enough to still be Superman. Well said there. And then Figurecraft says, I really wished they would have used the Fleischer's old black, red, yellow logo. The new logo is good, more modern. I gotta take a look at that. I don't know if I'm familiar with that logo. That's really interesting. Pete, I want to stick with you for the next topic here because I know you're a big Star Wars guy. So let us know, chat, if you're watching on replay, watching live right now, what are your thoughts on the name change of Superman? And do you think this logo is awesome? Are you excited for the figures? I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments after the show as well. This popped up on my feed as well this week, reported by Covered Geekly, and it is a picture here of Ahmed Best, and he has teased Jar Jar Binks' return to Star Wars in a new post. Now, Ahmed Best is well known, I think, for kind of sometimes the wrong reasons. Unfortunately, the man got a ton of negative criticism of his portrayal of Jar Jar Binks back, 25 years ago when The Phantom Menace came out, which sucks, because can you imagine being so excited to be part of the Star Wars franchise for the first time in, since the original trilogy? You have this interesting character, you do your best in terms of motion capture and your performance, the best you can, and then the fans just absolutely tear it apart. It happened with the Anakin actor as well, the young guy. I forget his name now. Jake Lloyd, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken.
Jake Lloyd, yeah.
But, it was at the point for both Jake Lloyd and Ahmed Best that they virtually stopped acting after that point. Like, it was bullying. So we did recently get a chance to see him as a Jedi recently in, I think it was it Obi-Wan or Ahsoka? I think it was Obi-Wan, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And that was really cool to see him back. And now he's in a motion capture suit again, which obviously we're thinking must mean a return of Jar Jar Binks. So what are your thoughts here, Pete? Would you be excited to see Jar Jar come back? Because I know in the past you've said that it was one of the parts of the film that you didn't love from Phantom Menace. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's funny that he's kind of what 25 years can do for a character, because I think that a lot of people now have got a lot more respect for Phantom Menace. It's not perfect, and it has its dodgy bits, but it has some great bits as well. And I wasn't a fan of Jar Jar, but my son thinks he's hilarious and loves him, so we kind of, I've kind of accepted him in a way, and it seems like a lot of fans have, because I know that when Hot Toys put up that tease for some more Phantom Menace figures, it seems that everybody's talking about Jar Jar, and everybody wants a Jar Jar in 1/6. So I'd be really interested to know what this is, what this will be for. You know, if it's true. But yeah, I don't mind. I think yeah, it wasn't Ahmed Best's fault, but he carried the can for it. I think it was, you know, the dialogue, the accent, the you know, he was just and when you're watching watch some Clone Wars and stuff, and he's just an absolute liability, isn't he? I mean, he's lucky that he doesn't end up killing most of the Rebel Alliance, but
You're not wrong.
yeah, but yeah, good on him, good on Ahmed Best. It was good to see him turn up in Kenobi, and I think, yeah, as I say, things have changed a lot, and I think he'd be quite welcomed back. Just be interested to know what this would be, that, you know, what the content is.
Yeah, well said.
To fact check this, I think X-Men was on there. Is there anywhere specifically where it mentions that it's for Jar Jar? Because it might be something completely different. And then he also plays 2 characters in the Star Wars universe.
It's assumed. It's assumed because he's in the motion capture suit again. I think that was the reason it was assumed, and so that's why this post was created. It is hard to know. He just teased himself in a motion capture suit, right? So he could really be any character and not necessarily Jar Jar. But I mean, with the Gungan race, I don't know if they ever really indicated how old they are, what their lifespans look like, anything like that. So it could still be present day, and he could still be alive. Like, I don't know. We don't really have a good indication of how old Gungans become. And Pete, you nailed it when you said, like, you know, a lot of people, since they've seen that Phantom Menace tease from Hot Toys, have been saying, ooh, a Jar Jar. We need a Jar Jar. But like, again, when we go back to the past and we look kind of backwards at ourselves, a lot of people did really kind of hate on the Jar Jar character. And in fact, X-Men Supreme asks, you know, can anybody tell me why they hated Jar Jar? Never understood it. I was at the right age for Jar Jar, where I thought he was awesome. He was a great comic relief in the film. I loved it in Phantom Menace as a new character. That's awesome. Let's pull that up a bit better. Nice. Love to see it. I loved my Jar Jar Binks on card from the Phantom Menace figures back with the comm pad and everything. Like, that was super cool. So for me, it wasn't a hate thing, but I can understand. I wasn't around when the original trilogy came out, and I think people who watched the original trilogy didn't want to see one of their favorite franchises and trilogies of all time get wrecked by a silly character, right? And sometimes it's a little hard to see a comic relief in a franchise that doesn't feel like it helps the mythology of the story potentially, right? It's just added for a younger audience, makes it kind of a kid-friendly movie and stuff, like some of those things. That's at least my assumption.
But what about New Hope?
Like it.
I mean, New Hope had that band with the elephant playing his nose and everything like that. I mean, I thought that was kind of silly.
Well, and even C-3PO and R2-D2, they are comic relief in a lot of ways in the originals, right? And so I still think that I think it lands better with audiences now looking back than it did at the time when there were some very high expectations of what Star Wars should be, and then this just didn't feel like this is what should be at that time. And again, this is looking back 25 years ago, which is crazy. We have 51 people watching live right now. Thank you so much for being here on a Let's Get Nuts Sunday, guys. If you don't mind, if you can hit the presumptive like button there for me, it really just helps drive traffic to the show week over week, and to the folks out there who don't even know our show exists, who might enjoy catching it later on. So if you don't mind hitting it, that would be definitely appreciated. Jose, what are your thoughts about a possible Jar Jar Binks figure? Is that something that you would consider putting in your collection if we see a return of Jar Jar down the line?
You know, it's surprising you ask, a lot of the panelists about, hey, what's up, Will? You asked a lot about the getting a Jar Jar, and a lot of people were like, I didn't like him in the movie, but I'd buy a Jar Jar Binks. I feel like he's so toyetic, right? Yeah. You saw my little miniature figure there that I have of Jar Jar. I've had these since I was a kid, man, so... yeah, man, I'd buy Jar Jar. Why not? The one I want is Little Annie. You know, Little Annie with the pod racer and all that. That's my nostalgia. And I think we talked about it last time. The Nintendo 64 game Racer was one of my favorite games growing up. So, yeah, I mean, I love the Phantom Menace for what it is. So, yeah, I'd buy it. And I'm excited about if this is potentially a return of Jar Jar Binks. I'm excited where and how exactly that may play out. So.
Yeah, and how old he is, like where in the universe exactly. What's he been doing this whole time, right? Very, very good call out. We do have a special guest watching as well. We don't see him here every week, but I'm happy to see you here this week. We got Mr. Will Foxification here with an Avengers level panel. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for coming in. I was actually talking about you backstage, Will, because I was saying the very first live show I ever did, I was too nervous to invite anybody because my channel was still very, very small. And so I started streaming that day by myself, and it was super awkward. It's still on the channel. You guys can go back and watch it. But Will sent me a message in the private chat and was like, send me the link and I'll join you. And it was like, for me at the time, it felt like having a celebrity panelist join in, because I was like still a super small channel. I'd been a fan of the guy for a long time, and there he is bailing me out on my own show. So I'll never forget that, buddy. Love your face. Thanks for being here. We definitely appreciate you and everything that you do for the community as well. Guys, I'm going to move on past Jar Jar unless anybody else has any thoughts on here, because we still have a little bit more entertainment news and some figure news to get into here, of course. But guys, let us know, would you pick up a Jar Jar Binks if Hot Toys makes one? I'd be curious to see. This popped up this week, and I wanted to read this because this is right from IGN. And in my opinion, IGN... they have some critical takes occasionally that I agree with and some that I don't. This is a review from IGN of the newest Disney Plus show, at least in Canada it's Disney Plus, for the TV show Shogun. And this has been a show that I've been heavily anticipating. It says here in the review, Shogun is a television at its best, using its budget to create a gorgeous, immersive world, but never letting spectacle detract from its emphasis on complex character arcs. The performances are compelling, aided by the writing, and flows from a crude humor to poetic drama in a way that brings depth to the protagonist in the eyes of minor characters. Now, this is a pretty astounding review. I have not watched this show yet, but one thing that I love, and I don't know if you guys have ever played the game, is the game Ghost of Tsushima. It's one of my favorite video games of all time. I would absolutely recommend it if you like this type of kind of swordplay, contact, and era of humanity. But I wanted to hear from you guys in the panel quickly and in the chat as well. Is this one that you guys would recommend that I watch? Because this is a pretty glowing review from IGN, and I love the content possibility. Has anybody on the panel had a chance to watch any of Shogun yet? Just let me know.
Not yet.
Nope.
But I plan to.
Nobody here has watched it. So that is
the
okay.
preview, and that was about it.
That is okay. So
Ian from Agent Silver Fox was talking about it to us the other day, and he said he loved it. So
okay.
It's on my list. I just haven't gotten to it yet.
Yeah.
Figurecraft says a must-watch. Shogun is a fantastic so far. Let's see here. I'm only in like 15 minutes, but it's good. Yeah, that's from the past, or from the show itself. That's good to hear, actually. Moose Stream says, first I've heard of Shogun. Figurecraft says, big fan of Last Samurai. I have 3 Samurai third parties. And there was actually a figure that was made, and I can't remember the company now, but it even had like die-cast paneling on it, and it was from the Ghost of Tsushima character as well, and it looked friggin' awesome. So we don't have to stick on this very long. I just wanted to highlight the fact that this looks kind of cool. And if you like Ghost of Tsushima, maybe give this a chance. Maybe Jose, if I can give you a little homework, if you're able to come next Sunday, maybe watch the first episode, and I'll do the same. And then let's revisit this on Let's Get Nuts next week, and we can chat about it a little bit better. Just the first episode, see what we think.
Sounds good.
Darth Damaris here in the chat with a "What's up, Ben? Good to see you, buddy. Love to see it." Guys, let's move on here to this. Now, I can already tell, Jose is going to tell me this is a fake picture, that this is not real. I know that this is not a real picture, for the record, guys, so let me say that first. But this is a picture. This is a picture of Henry Cavill, dressed up through CGI, clearly, and alternate reality media, I think it says, of him in Cyclops gear. Now, there's been a lot of rumors running around, and if you're just tuning in, this is 100% a rumor at this point. There's been rumors that he was going to be cast in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That has not been officially confirmed by any official kind of channels yet. So, again, this is speculation exclusively. But I was curious to see what you guys thought of this as a possibility, because Henry Cavill, obviously being a very loved actor, definitely has the chops, the body build, the jaw structure for a Cyclops. If we saw Henry Cavill come back into Marvel, but as a Cyclops character, is that something that you would support, or do you think we should look at other actors for this role? For me, I can see it, but I still really have Superman in my mind's eye when I see Cavill. I think the benefit here is that Cyclops wears his visor, right, to kind of contain his laser vision. But this would now also be the second character he's played with laser vision if he ends up being Cyclops. So again, I can see the comparisons being a little too close. For me, this would be a fan cast that I actually wouldn't want to see. I'd like to see somebody else in this role once we eventually get kind of the X-Men universe unveiled in Marvel Cinematic Universe. Pete, what are your thoughts on the possible, the fan casting, I should say, of a Henry Cavill in this role? Or do you think it should be somebody else?
I don't mind. I think he's a good actor, and it'd be quite a kind of coup to kind of end up in Marvel after kind of being pushed out by DC. I would imagine that he's probably pretty busy with his Warhammer stuff at the moment, so I don't think it's definitely not a real thing. But yeah, he looks the part. He looks good. He looks cool. As you say, he's chiseled. The what's the other guy? The guy that played it, was it Marsden?
James Marsden.
I always found him really annoying. I liked him in what do you call it? The
Westworld.
Westworld. But I always found him annoying as hell as Cyclops, and I guess that was probably the idea. To make Wolverine look even more cool.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, but he really annoyed me. But I enjoyed him in Westworld. But why not? There's always we have this constant recasting of superheroes. So why not? Why not?
Absolutely. And it's interesting too because even with Superman, everybody was, I shouldn't say everybody, but a lot of folks were pretty upset about the character of Superman being recast, and I think it's unfair he never got a Man of Steel 2 to kind of further his storyline of Superman. But actually, it's How You Figure here mentioned this. I totally agree with this take. Henry Cavill should play a villain in the next comic book outing. Or just lead different action franchise altogether. Fallout was incredible. Mission Impossible Fallout. Yeah, his scene in the bathroom with him fighting Tom Cruise. Epic.
What about
super.
Could he play Doctor Doom? That would be cool.
I mean, why not, right? Like, especially if his face is covered. Because even with like Kylo Ren's character, right? He's known so well as Kylo Ren, but with the mask on, you could play a different character. If you put him in a different role, Adam Driver, you could play a villain or a good guy pretty well. But yeah, Cavill, I could see him as a villain character for sure. I do stand corrected, and once again, I'm surprised. I'm surprised you didn't catch this, Jose. You're slacking today. X-Men Supreme says here, no. Cyclops doesn't have laser vision. It's concussive force. Thank you for the correction. I didn't realize that's exactly how it was kind of thought to be. So, maybe. No, I thought you were gonna debate that.
No, it's fine. No, he'll know more than me. Actually, he's when it comes to the X-Men, he's a resident X-Men expert there. So,
heck yeah, that actually helps. Yeah, he's got X-Men in his name.
It's been retrofitted. Well, retroed to say that it's a beam from another dimension, but in the beginning it was actually solar based. So, but I like the concussive beam. It sounds much more accurate because really his beams never really emitted heat, and Superman's was actually a heat vision,
right.
But this is more like a pow bang. I'm gonna blow you away with this
burst a hole through a roof.
Exactly, burst of energy as opposed to a heat source.
Absolutely. No, well said, Classy Thomas. Well said. And yeah, X-Men Supreme says that's true, Classy. Punch dimension. Love to see it. Loki, Calvin, who do you think Henry Cavill could play in the Marvel Cinematic Universe if it wasn't a Cyclops? Do you have him kind of fan cast in your mind, since I know you were saying you were kind of upset that they took Superman away from him? Have you thought of any characters that you'd like to see him play?
Not necessarily, just because there's been several, that Hyperion, Captain Britain. At this point, I just want to see who he shows up as, to be honest. I'm still upset about Channing Tatum and Gambit all these years. So hopefully he comes about when this new Deadpool movie. Yeah. So
Yeah.
honestly, like I'm just at the point where I just want to see because we build these images in our head and these expectations, and when you get to the screen, it can either kill it for you or make it for you. So I'd like to just sit back and just see what happens. I think I saw somebody say Magneto in the chat. I was
That's
like,
interesting.
that'd be interesting. I'm like, that'd be a cool one to see him go up against, an opposite Doctor Professor X.
Yeah.
That's
And he
a-
looks
that's an
good with
interest-
white. He
that's an
looks good with
interesting
white
thought.
hair, like we saw with Geralt
Yeah,
of
so
Rivia.
that can be one right there. But we'll see what he comes up with. But I am hoping that they actually did sign him to a role because I think they're wasting an actor of his caliber.
100%. I could definitely get on board with a Magneto. Actually, that's a good pick. MB20 says, and good to see you here as well, buddy. Says Leal, our buddy over 1/6 scale man, says made a point that Cavill's body size and face would be wasted if he played Doom. Got to agree. Yeah, I could see that because Doom. I don't think necessarily. Well, but Doom has some comics that has some being pretty large in terms of his stature. But he's under a lot of outfit, so you might not be able to
Yeah,
see
and
it
see, the
as
only
much.
issue I have with him playing Doom is,
You don't get to see his pretty face.
well, yeah, well that, but also, Doom, Pedro Pascal is in his 50s, and Henry Cavill is not. They were actually college dorm mates and college mates. So I don't know. I mean, they would have to really disguise his face, which would be a waste of that face. I'd love to see him as Captain Britain, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and he's already got the British accent.
Yeah, exactly.
so-
But then that way we get to see it. We actually get to hear him speaking in his regular voice, which would be kind of awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I would have also liked to see him as a new James Bond, honestly, just outside of superhero kind of content. He's got that suave nature to him that I think he'd make it a wonderful James Bond, potentially, an action hero side to him as well. But guys, yeah, let us know. Obviously, again, if you're just joining in, this is rumor mill at this point. This is not confirmed. This is a CGI image. He has not been confirmed to be in the X-Men or Marvel Cinematic Universe as of right now. But it is cool, food for thought. So let us know if you guys would be on board with this potential fan casting, and let us know in the comments if you can. 50 people still watching. Love you guys here. Thanks so much for sticking with us. We got one more piece of entertainment news that I want to touch on before we talk about some 6-scale figures today, and it is the Crow. Now, I wanted to highlight this. On the left, you see Brandon Lee from his version of The Crow from the 90s, which I watched recently. Absolutely loved the film. Ended up buying the Sideshow figure. Really cool figure, I got to admit. But of course, one of the Skarsgård brothers here now, the actor who played Pennywise in the most recent It film, has been cast as the upcoming rebooted version of The Crow. And we finally got a chance... Bill Skarsgård, thank you. We finally got a chance to see what he's going to look like in the Crow makeup, and it has created some pretty big controversy. I will admit, my first thought looking at this was, I don't love it. I don't love it. It really gives me Suicide Squad Joker vibes with the tattoos. I really like the long hair for the Crow. I don't know. There's something about it that doesn't stick with me all that well. But I'd be curious to see what you guys have to think in the chat as well as in the panel here, because I'm not the only Crow fan. And with some of the past comic looks, this look is very modernized for sure in comparison. He's got kind of like the rat tail look, I want to call it. And I've never had a rat tail myself, but not a good look for most people. This guy seems like he pulls it off at least better than I could, I think. But because this is a remake, they're still kind of going back even to the same storyline as the original Crow with Brandon Lee. So I'll be curious to see kind of what you guys have to say about this. Only other thing I'll mention is that there are some Crow comic inspiration here, obviously, from the Wild Justice comics line of the Crow, where you do see him in this comic run with short hair. You do see that he's got like the swirly tattoos around his nipples and kind of around his belly, as well as even an eye on his chest. And so I think this may be where that inspiration at least comes from for this look. but I gotta say, the majority of the other Crow comics have him with the longer hair and trench coat, kind of like Brandon Lee looked like. So I don't love this. Calvin, I want to go to you first, because you sent this to me pretty darn quick when this reveal came out. And you're a big Crow fan. So yeah, like, is this something that you're excited about? Something that you're now more worried about than excited? What are your thoughts?
So I feel high key kind of creeping up in me right now because I see this and I'm like, hell no. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna keep it real. I'm cool on this. I'll go back and watch Brandon's version all day, every day, over and over again. I mean, obviously, I'll see the movie when it comes out, but this doesn't do it for me. And then this picture right here, I'm like, is that a mullet with a lineup? What is this?
It's
Like,
a mullet with a lineup and a
he's
rat
got
tail.
it with the mean lineup, but then it's got the mullet in on the back. I'm like, okay, yeah, you definitely lost me on that image. Yeah, no, sir, I don't like it.
Don't like it. And you know what? I think you did say something, though, that stuck out to me, Calvin, which is you'll still see it. You'll still give it a chance.
I mean,
Right.
I like movies and especially something new, but Hollywood has they keep making the mistake of trying to rinse and repeat, and then it's like you fuck up the original story, and then you can't keep the lore and the magic that we loved from the first one. Like, if you could keep that moving along, cool, but don't fuck it up in the meanwhile. We didn't need Brandon with tattoos and dope. And then the martial arts is also another issue for me. I love Bill as an actor, but are you gonna be kicking ass like Brandon could kick ass? I don't think so. So that's another issue for me.
Very interesting to see. And I mean, even Brandon Lee had some body double after his passing and everything there with what's the heck is his name now? Chad Stileski, who's now, of course, the director of the John Wick franchise, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing what they can do with body doubles and action stars and stuff like that. But I will agree with you on that one, Loki. I'm not sure why they're wanting to switch it up so much. I think with it being a reboot, they could have almost more so copied the original look of Brandon Lee, and I think that actually would have been something that people would have been excited to see. At least I think I would have been excited to see kind of more of that traditional look. This does feel very divergent from the Crow story, I know. But Classy Thomas, you've seen the original Crow yourself as well. What are your thoughts on these new images, this new maybe take on this Crow character, but also with it being a remake of the original? Is it doing that remake justice? Are they respecting the original? Is there still respect for Brandon Lee there in this take? Does it make a difference? What are your thoughts?
Well, well, all right. First things first. I have great respect for Brandon Lee and his father and their family, but Brandon Lee was not the Crow. Brandon Lee played the Crow. So I don't necessarily feel that they owe anything as filmmakers to try to be true to Brandon Lee's version. However, I think that they should be doing what they can to be true to the IP. So if they're now, I never saw The Crow Wild Justice. If they're trying to go back and reboot the original storyline, I'm not sure how that will sync up. If they're trying to go and do it more of Wild Justice, I'd have to go back and read that and then see how true they were being to that. But my initial, now when I see that cover, that looks interesting to me. But my initial reaction when I first saw the picture of Bill Skarsgård, I kind of recoiled a little bit. I was like, that doesn't look like the Crow. Where's the white makeup? Where's the and I kind of had to push that to the side for a second. So I don't know. I think I'm going to reserve my judgment until after the movie comes out and I get a chance to see it. Because I'm all right with two different versions, just like I was okay with the two different It's. Tim Curry played it his way, and then Bill Skarsgård came in and played it his way, and I appreciate both of them because they're, even though they're kind of reboots, they're two different. It's not supposed to be a script, a play-by-play remake. kind of like that horrible version of Psycho that they did, where they did a frame by frame remake of the original Psycho. That was a mistake. So I'm kind of I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued, but I don't think that it will. I don't know. I'll be surprised if it will be able to stand up to the Brandon Lee version of the Crow. I really am kind of curious. It brings up my curiosity more than my initial reaction was to recoil. Now I'm intrigued.
Absolutely. Well said. I do like what you mentioned about, Brandon Lee played the Crow. He wasn't the Crow. And I think some people may have a hard time separating that because that is the role he literally passed away making. And so for some folks, just even like Heath Ledger's Joker, right? I mean, he didn't pass away playing the Joker, but he did pass away very shortly afterwards. And some of that mental trauma he sounds like he struggled with might have been because of having to be kind of method acting and really in the mind of that character, a very dark, dark place. And so, but I do think that that's still a good differentiation because it doesn't mean that this character shouldn't ever be remade again. I see a couple folks out there saying, don't judge a book by its cover. Skarsgård would rock the Crow. Looking forward to this remake. Don't know anything about the Crow, but birds are cool. It's less about the bird, but I mean, it's still some bird in there. And I liked also kind of what you mentioned about, Skarsgård's new take on Pennywise the Clown, despite it feeling still like it honors the original and the story of the original. I think that's a good differentiation there as well. And I think that don't judge a book by its cover thing is really important. I've been burned on that before. When I first saw, again, Jared Leto's version of the Joker, just images of what he'd look like, I hated it, and I really didn't like it in the movie either. But we know that a lot of his scenes are also cut from the film, a lot of the acting he did. There might have been so much more meat on the bone that would have made me like that version of Joker that I just never really got a chance to even see. With him being kind of the titular character, or the main character of this new movie, hopefully that won't be the case and we'll have an opportunity to see. And I would like to be wrong, because I root for movies, right? I want to go in and enjoy it. I don't want to go in and hope that it sucks. So I am kind of like you guys, rooting for this to be a win. But yeah, guys, if you're watching in the chat right now, let us know. Are you excited about it? If you're watching on the replay, please also let us know. Is it a green light for you? Is this a red flag? Are you worried? Are you happy about it? I'd like to know. I do hope they give him the white makeup at the very least. I'm hoping this is his kind of dress-up scene where he's kind of initially putting his jacket on, and maybe he'll still do the white makeup and everything. But he's already got the black eye makeup on, so it's hard to know. But that was, to me, a very traditional Crow look, and I love the figure as well with that white face. So guys, let us know what you think in the chat below. We're at the halfway point of the show. We're about to move into some 6-scale news. I'm excited to get some Pete's takes here on some of this upcoming figure news as well, because he said he doesn't know the Crow as much, and I'm like, I'm not going to put you on the spot then, buddy, even though I just totally put you on the spot.
I watched it back in the day when it was originally out, and it didn't really resonate with me. And so I'm just, I won't be watching this one.
I'd be curious if you'd like it more if you rewatched it. But
maybe
it might have been one of those things.
Yeah, maybe I should.
Yeah,
but
worth the read.
Yeah, I'm not really interested in the new one, to be honest. It looks odd, but
absolutely. Guys, we still have 50 people in the chat. Again, if you're just joining in, thanks for joining us here on Let's Get Nuts Sunday. We appreciate you here. Please subscribe to any of my friends below me here that have a YouTube channel as well, and some of the members and chat people out there in the chat as well. I saw Collector Joey here. How you figure? There's a couple folks out there that have their own YouTube channels. S-Beam. Make sure you guys please support each other as well out there. I didn't get a chance to say hi to Tremble Dust, but he says, wait and see for me at the Crow, and live long and prosper, Star Trek friend in the world. I appreciate you here. Guys, let's move on to this interesting first take on figure news here. We're looking at the Sosa Toys, the Sultan of Speed. Of course, the iconic Wesley ship version of the character. Now, this is actually from the CW television show The Flash. where we get a chance to see his character kind of don this original costume once again. The picture on the right that you see here is of his version of the character from the original. I want to say it was 90s TV, but it might have even been earlier than that. Fact checker, let me know if you can there. But again, very close to the original. I think the thing that really stands out for me the most is the original show, anyways, not the CW version as much, has some crazy muscle suit underneath. And as a speedster, I always think it's funny to see a muscle suit like that, because he's burning calories like crazy. You know what I mean? It'll be hard to hold that much muscle all the time. So actually, I think that the figure version is almost like a more realistic looking version. It does look like this figure potentially has the opportunity to have some split cut boot design, which we haven't seen with some of the other speedsters from So Toys. So I'm excited to see that upgrade as well. If you never saw the original television show, we also see Mark Hamill here on the left as his version of the Trickster, which was also featured in the CW show, which was also kind of a fun take on it. Very inspiring take. Obviously, Mark Hamill did go on to also voice the character of the Joker in Batman the Animated Series, as well as all of the Arkham video games. And you can definitely hear a little bit of Joker in his Trickster take here. But I think a lot of folks love the Wesley Shipp version of the Flash. In fact, I've heard a lot of people say that they almost wish that they could have just moved this man in time to the present so he could have been nowadays Flash, because he was such a loving character, like an awesome actor, and a badass take on the Flash overall. The old show doesn't hold up in terms of graphics as much, but the heart was there of the character. And I love the Flash. I'm definitely considering picking this figure up to potentially pair even next to my Chris Reeves Superman. I would love to see a Linda Carter Wonder Woman at some point to add to the mix there. I've seen some people saying they want to pair this guy with Keaton's Batman, which I think is interesting. So yeah, some really cool thoughts there from the community on this figure. But it's in my maybe basket. So I'm curious, Jose, if you can convince me or tip me over the edge as to why I should consider this. Or is it something that you're not considering for a figure? What are your thoughts?
That's good to confirm. And then Trimple does also put it in the chat. It was from 90 to 91 that the series ran for one season. Yeah, so it ran for, and the Trickster, Mark Hamill played that character before the animated series, because I believe the animated series, Batman the Animated Series, when he played the Joker was in 92, right, when it started. 92. So he played the Trickster first, so that's, and what's cool is, like you said, he actually played the Trickster again several times, different iterations in the multiverse of the Arrowverse. Yeah. So he played like different versions, and John Wesley Shipp, he played Barry's dad in the show, in the Arrowverse, but and then later he played Jay Garrick in a different version of Jay Garrick, and then he also came back as his 90s Flash. So he played various characters in the Arrowverse. This suit that you're looking at, it's actually more based on his Arrowverse appearance. I also, if you look at the likeness, he looks a little older. So it's based on his appearance from the Arrowverse, not the 90s TV series. So if you look up the suit from the Arrowverse and his appearance there, it's actually a lot closer to the figure that you're looking at. Yeah, than the 90s more bulked up suit that you're looking at the other photo there. So I think this is really cool. Pairing it up with Michael Keaton's Batman would be kind of cool, especially because I watched a few episodes when I was younger, and then I remember I revisited it when the show was the new show was coming on, and I always felt as a kid it could fit within the Tim Burton world in some way. So I could definitely see collectors picking this up to pair it in that universe. Like you said, if we hopefully get into Carter, Wonder Woman, and a few other, then you might want to get this for that specific reason. I like it. I'm not, like you said, it's also in my maybe pile. I have a lot of things on order, so for now I'm slowing down, but I really, really like it. And so for the most part, they're pretty good. They're a little slow, but they're pretty good usually with their figures. So.
It does still look like he's got more of that abdomen section, though, beefed up with the muscles, even from the Arrowverse look. But I agree, he's a little bit more slimmed down in comparison. It's kind of a bit of a hybrid, it looks like. But again, So Toys is still nailing this, in my opinion, if that's the case. But great take there as well, Jose. Loki, do you have any thoughts on this type of figure? Is this something that you would consider adding to your collection, just as kind of a Flash? I don't even know if you have any other Flash characters in the display there.
I have the full team of the Justice League, so I do have Ezra's Flash. But this brings me back to my childhood. This was early '90s. When I was probably like 10 or 11. I loved this show when I was a kid. So seeing this brings it all back. I don't know if I necessarily need it on the shelf though, with everything else I already have going on in here. But I think it looks great.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. And we've got a quick shout out to the Movie Canon, one of our channel members. Hello, collectors. Make sure you go and subscribe to the Movie Canon as well. He's got a really, really fun show that I was on recently on the Saturday morning. Definitely worth the watch. Please remind me of what the show itself was called, Movie Canon, if you can, and we'll highlight that for you, buddy. But definitely go and support him over there, guys. Now, Classy Thomas, you have quite the interesting figure collection. I can totally see something like this come into your collection there. What are your thoughts on this figure?
You know, all right. I'm kind of thinking about it. He definitely is at a price point that makes me want to consider him. I'm not quite sure. I don't know. The body, well, it kind of looks like they might have used a seamless body, and as a result it looks a little bulky. Now I have the Sideshow Flash, which I really love, and that one is more of the comic book version. That's one that I would probably be more willing to pair with the Linda Carter and the old school gang. But I do like now when they come out with the Jay Garrick, that one I really do want.
Yeah.
That one looks more to me the Flash. I mean, than this version, because he has aged a bit since the '90s version. Now, if they made a '90s version with a younger face sculpt and stuff and kind of de-aged him a little bit,
Yeah.
that one I will be more leaning more towards that version right there.
Yeah.
That is the one that I want if I were going to get one with him. But other than that, I mean, I think it's a good looking figure, but I'm kind of on the fence with it.
Fair enough. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm on the fence with it.
Absolutely. Pete, do you have any final thoughts on this version of the Flash? Is there something you'd consider?
I really like the look. I know that it's very different to kind of what we've seen recently with sort of
Grant
people
Gustin's
of
look
slightly
and
smaller.
Ezra's look.
Yeah, a smaller stature, but I love this one because I don't remember whether I've actually seen the source material or not, but I love it just because it's very reminiscent of Alex Ross's artwork and stuff, and I absolutely love Alex Ross as an artist, and his take on Superman, Batman, the Flash are to me the ultimate representation of those characters. So I like it from that point of view, and I think for the figure, I'd rather it was bulkier. I feel like the bodysuit looks a little bit baggy on it. I mean, if you're going to go with it, go for it and put an Thyssen M35 or something under there, and really bulk him out. But yeah, I think of all the Flashes that have come out, I think it's the one that the look that I think I would like best if I was putting together Justice League.
Feels very traditional, that's for sure, and it is kind of a cool look.
Yeah,
I'd be curious
yeah.
to see what the figure looks like once it's actually made. I did have the original Grant Gustin Flash from So-So, and I didn't totally love it, but I do
I had that
see
one.
already the improvements. I've already seen the improvements even from that new 2.0 that we've seen recently, as well as the reverse Flash looking figure. So I think that they're definitely taking the right steps forward anyways. And again, this is a running figure, so if he does have split cut boots, huge improvement in the costume and the ability to actually pose it well. Collection Obsession, one of our channel members, says this version of Wesley Ship Flash from Arrowverse is probably a pass for me, as I already have the 1/6 Wiz Custom. Never seen that figure. I gotta look that up. The 1990s Flash, which is definitely more reminiscent of the 90s Flash, so a younger looking version, I would imagine, and potentially even a little more bulked up in the outfit. But yeah, let us know, guys, if this one's coming to your collection. I would definitely love to hear from you. Now, Pete, I want to stick with you, but I do want to give a bit of a content warning here before I flip to the next picture. We are going to look at a scary clown next. If there are any trigger warnings with regards to scary clowns, this segment is going to take about 4 minutes. So please, if you do leave us, come back in about 4 minutes. We are going to look at a scary picture of a clown next. You've been warned. Please don't come after me later. Guys, we are looking here at Pennywise the Clown from Sideshow Collectibles. Now, recently we got the Beetlejuice figure, and that Beetlejuice I ordered immediately. I love Beetlejuice, and while I do have a little bit of nervousness around what the final production value of that figure is going to feel like in hand, I've never been able to get a Beetlejuice otherwise. It's definitely coming to my collection. This, in terms of prototype, looks insane. It looks so good. In fact, I honestly thought it was an in-art pre-order window that was going up. When I saw that it was Sideshow, I was kind of staggered by it a little bit. It's horrifying. And totally, you can see the actor in the makeup there. Now, for me, I actually do prefer the newest representation of Pennywise in the newest It franchise. I do prefer that version. But, Tim Curry is an amazing actor. This is an absolutely wonderful opportunity to have him displayed in your collection as kind of that reminder. I think I would almost rather a Frankenfurter if I was going to go with a Tim Curry, but that's just me. But again,
Home Alone 2.
Home Alone 2, yeah, the bell guy, yeah, right. So, love him in that too. That's a great.
You're
great
just thinking
film.
about my legs.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Guys, is this something that you would consider picking up? Let us know in the chat. Let us know here on the panel. This is a skip for me, which is kind of tough because it does look friggin' amazing, but I don't feel like I need this level of horror collection in my particular display. Pete, let me know what your thoughts here, buddy, are on Sideshow's Pennywise.
Yeah, I was just going to say before I go into that, I'd want Darkness from Legend as a Tim Curry. The NECA made one a long time ago, and it goes for big money. So that would be awesome to have.
That would be awesome.
Huge horns would be a massive figure.
Yes.
Yeah, I grew up on this version of it. You watched it quite a lot, and I kind of. When I absolutely love Tim Curry, and I think in a lot of ways he's creepier than the Bill Skarsgård version, where I think obviously the it's not as true to the book as the new ones, and I kind of went into the new ones thinking I'm not going to enjoy them because to me, Tim Curry was the definitive Pennywise, but I really did enjoy them, and because obviously, this was made in 1990, I think. With the recent films, obviously with the CGI and everything, they were actually a lot of the horror comes from the way he transforms with his face and when he becomes the spider and stuff like that. So, and it goes more into that kind of that he's an ancient horror that's come from space or another dimension or something like that, whereas this is very much like he's just a creepy clown. But yeah, it's one of his definitive roles, and I think it looks great. I mean, to be fair, when I saw this image on your poster thing for the show, I was going to say it was in art because it makes sense to me. They made the other Pennywise, which was great. And obviously there's a lot of material and stuff, the outfit. But yeah, I mean, Sideshow, they look like they're having a little bit of a resurgence, to be honest. The Beetlejuice looked really good. It'd be, as you say, the proof is in the pudding, what that comes out like.
Because you've had Sideshow figures before, right? Like some of the Star Wars ones, am I right?
Yeah, I've got a few. Yeah, I mean, I've got some of the old Star Wars ones, and I think, they hold up. All that really doesn't hold up is the head sculpts, and I just swap them out with kind of like, generic DID heads or something if they're like Imperial officers and things like that. But all the outfits and everything are great. So it would be good. A lot of people bash Sideshow as a company making stuff, and obviously the 6 scale stuff's the one that's not been that great. But I'm quite. I don't want to see them. I'd like these to turn out well. We need a new Freddy Krueger because the last they did was pretty rubbish.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if they're kind of going with that horror thing and they start nailing them, then it could only be good news, I think.
Absolutely. Now, Jose, I know you're a horror fan, and I know you've
Yeah.
got, I know you're, you like Ghostface quite a bit and Michael Myers. Is this one that you consider putting in the collection for your horror display?
I don't know, man. It looks really good, as you guys were mentioning, man. When I saw it, I was like, that looks incredible. But the one thing I'll tell you about this movie is that I don't really remember. I feel like I kind of blacked out, or I don't really remember. The only thing that I remember watching is the drain scene in the shower. If you guys seen the movie or the series, I guess, if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. But I remember watching that as a kid, and I was freaked out, man. I was like, that's like the one thing that I think about when I see this. So I'm not sure I'd want it, but
It's like on the edge of too
Triggering
creepy. It's like,
something.
a little
Yeah.
triggering. Yeah, 100%.
But it looks really good. It's like you guys were saying when it comes to the Beetlejuice, we kind of have to wait and see, with Sideshow to see how these end up turning out. I want them to do well, so that way if these end up, they're exploring IPs that not other places are doing, right? So if they continue doing these and they come out well, I mean, what are the possibilities, right? They have several IPs, several things that they could do here at Sideshow, so, I want them to turn out good. I know the bodies end up not being great and all that, but, if they can improve those small things, I feel like there's a lot of potential there.
Totally agree. Calvin or Classy, do you guys have any quick takes before we moved on? I did promise this would be about a 4 to 5 minute segment for anybody who's.
I'll just say real quick, I'm undecided. It looks great. I do have a horror section, and I believe I have Michael, Freddy, Jason, and Ghostface. Ghostface. All from Sideshow. So the bodies are shitty, but once you prop them up and don't touch them, they look great on the shelf. So I do already have Pennywise as well from Hot Toys, the newer one, but again, childhood right here. And when you guys touched on Home Alone 2, every Christmas I see Pennywise. That scene when he finds that he's got the stolen credit card and he gets that Grinch looking smile.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there it is. That's Pennywise right there every year. So I'm undecided on it, but I haven't ordered yet, but I definitely have to have Beetlejuice, and I may pick this one up as well.
Beetlejuice 100% for me. It's 100%.
Who would buy a Tim Curry Home Alone 2 figure? I mean,
I would.
I'd consider it. Yeah,
I'd consider it. It'd be funny just to have like a bell desk. You know what I mean? Like a front desk in your display with them up. That could be pretty cool. Guys,
I'm on board with it.
You're on board with it, Classy?
Yeah.
Is this something you'd buy, or do you think it's
I
just
would.
like really cool? Yeah.
I would. I'm on board.
Cool.
I'm definitely planning to get it.
Heck yeah, dude. I would be
Nice.
Classy. You have such an interesting setup of figures, and same with you, Calvin. There's so many figures that I feel like you guys have behind you that we don't even know are there. I'd be curious to see what your horror display looks like, Calvin. If you can share that, maybe I'll put that on next week's show. That'd be really fun. And then, Classy, if you do get this, let's do an unboxing of this on Let's Get Nuts.
Okay.
And scare some people before we move into the rest of the entertainment news.
If you like, I can take it. If you like, I can take a picture of it and send it to you right now.
Send it
Give me a
now.
minute.
I'll see if I can
Give me
pull
a
it up
minute.
quick enough for us. So, guys, let's move on because I did promise that we would get that segment done and out of the way. But thanks for sticking with us, the 40 people who are still watching. Appreciate you guys. This is, of course, Gore the God Butcher from Thor: Love and Thunder, made by Hot Toys. This has been one that, when I first saw the film, I honestly felt like Christian Bale's portrayal here of Gore was probably my favorite part of the movie. And if I was going to go out of my way to collect anything from that film in particular, I would get Gore. Now, there's a couple pieces to this. And some of us might call this tap out. I might even call it tap out even for myself. I'm looking for reasons for why I shouldn't buy this figure. Because honestly, the head sculpt, Looks amazing. They did a great job. Figures that have white robes in my collection, such as Moon Knight, who else? Even Doc Brown in his white coat, Yelena. They all look really amazing in a display. They really pop. And I think this guy would definitely pop in the collection. But I really hate jointed arms and bodies. I just do. I love my joints in life, but I don't love them on my figures. And to me, it really breaks the immersion of a figure because I try to look at my display and see it as literally like shrunk down real people or creatures or monsters in my collection, not necessarily figures. I would sacrifice posability for realism. The first time we saw that first, kind of 1.0 version of Peacemaker and he had jointed arms for Peacemaker, John Cena's character, I was like, that looks like absolute dog shit. I hated it. And when they upgraded it to the big body, the seamless look, it was an amazing upgrade and an absolute buy. Now, clearly one of the challenges here is that on seamless bodies, this kind of scarring tissue that you see on Gore's arms, I don't think they'd be able to actually pull that off on a seamless body. I think it would rip very quickly. All of a sudden, you'd be seeing endoskeleton through the skin. Not a good look for a figure either, and also immersion breaking, let's be honest. At least this guy has robes that can cover a lot of those joints. And so I've tried to talk myself out of it, but maybe the chat and you guys can potentially talk me back into it, because I do like the character and I love Christian Bale, and I think this figure turned out really, really well considering. Thomas, I know you had said you didn't mind the Love and Thunder film. What are your thoughts on the Gore figure here? Is this one that you're considering?
I ordered Gore, so
Nice.
I do have him coming in. And as to the seamless body, I have to disagree with you on that. They could have done that, but what they would have to do is that they would have to sculpt the scars into the figure and pour it, and then they had to paint it with silicone paints. It may be that it would be difficult for them to do that and make it something that they could afford to sell. And a lot of people had a problem with this because, and I kind of agree, because if you go back and look at how Gore looked in the comic books, I would have preferred that head sculpt, which they could have still done with Christian. Kind of like it's kind of like Ralph Fiennes as he played Voldemort. That was not his face necessarily, because they CGI'd out his nose, and they could have done a similar thing with Christian Bale, and then given him prosthetics for the side pieces on his ears and everything. But I don't have a problem with this rendition.
It is a very different look, eh?
It is a very different look.
Very different.
And there's a place that sometimes I buy parts like old head sculpts and everything. And if a Christian Bale, if the Gore head sculpt ever shows up there, I may buy it, shave down the nose and resculpt it and see how it turns out, and maybe replace that, because I really do like the look of the comic book version. But I'm not opposed to this one. I kind of do dig the version that was done in the movie, and I think that despite the fact that Christian Bale really didn't butcher a lot of gods,
Oh, I see what you did there.
I really wish they had leaned in to his butchering and allowed him to kill some gods, rather than I don't think they really utilized him as well as they could have. But I do love the figure. I'm not opposed to the jointed arms, because he's a white figure. I think that you can pose him and disguise it a little bit. And even with the robes, you could probably even drape the robes around it and disguise it a bit more. It'll take a little bit more effort, but I do like this figure, and I do like his face and everything like that. So I'm not really torn about it. I am disappointed that we didn't get a more comic book accurate gore, but I'm not opposed to this one.
Not offended by it.
Yeah, I'm
Absolutely.
not offended by it.
Great thoughts there. And you know what? I forgot to even pull up a picture of the original gore. It is a very, very different look. So I agree with you on that one. Both would have been very cool. With such an iconic actor like Christian Bale in the role, I can see why they wanted him to look a little bit like Christian Bale behind the makeup. I can see it. But I wonder if that was his choice or if it was Marvel's choice. I'd be curious to know, because he's also changed his look for many roles in his life. I had talked about the Machinist a while back, and thanks to whoever corrected me, I kept calling it the Mechanic, and I meant to say the Machinist. But that film, he was a sleep deprived person, and wow, did he look different! It was crazy. And he'd just come from Batman Begins at the time, where he's pretty swole and jacked in that movie. So amazing physical transformations. Really quickly before I go to you, Jose, this is Calvin's collection here of his horror figures that I wanted to highlight. Very cool look to it here. And can you got some Haunted Mansion stuff in there, Calvin? Like tell us what we're looking at here, buddy.
Yeah, I'm a huge Disney guy, so on top of the ride and all the different parks I've been to for Disney, and then the movie recently came out, so I've got several different Haunted Mansion pieces there. But Pennywise with the scary ass sculpt in the sewer. So anytime somebody comes in here, I tell them to stare into the sewer, and they scares the shit out of them. And then I've got the rest of the guys, and Chucky's sitting there in the box, there in the center as well. So.
That's awesome. It looks really cool, man. I like this display a lot. The ghost face up on top in the center, it looks like he's laughing at the other characters with the way his head's turned. That's badass. That's really badass.
Appreciate it.
No, cool, man. Thanks for sharing
great.
that with
I
us.
love it.
That looks really good. And I like it's just the cabinet of it, like a horror cabinet. That's really cool. That Pennywise, like the severed arm on the base, that's gnarly as shit. So that's awesome. Pete, tell us what your thoughts are on Gore the God Butcher here. Did you like Love and Thunder? Is this one that you consider putting in your
I
Hot
think I've
Toys
been
collection?
quite vocal saying that I did quite enjoy it. I know a lot of people hated it. A lot of people on the within this community, particularly the Collecting Weekly, and didn't enjoy it. I just thought it was great fun, and I thought Russell Crowe was a very different role for him, as Zeus. I thought it was funny. I thought Christian Bale was great, and I don't know how I managed to kind of go into it not knowing he was in it. So I was kind of like watching it going, that looks like Christian Bale. Okay, it is. So he was really good.
That's awesome.
Like the rest of you said, like the head sculpt is great, and it's a rare occasion where Hot Toys has done a head sculpt with visible teeth that actually looks brilliant, because we've all seen the Ant-Man and things like that. They normally look really goofy, but this looks really good. I think it's all about those arms. I think it's the joints, it's the really visible wrist pegs, it's the big hands. It's kind of like a Hot Toys big hands, like where the base of the hand is already wider than the arm, and it's quite jarring. I know at the end of the day they're figures, they're I don't want to say toys, but they have that sort of some of that base articulation. But yeah, it does take away from the realism, I think. But I think the head sculpt, they've nailed it. It looks great, and the robes and stuff are cool. I think the best part of it, I like the sword. The sword looks really cool.
Really cool. Yeah, absolutely. And even Stormbreaker, the axe there is really cool with him as well. Now, Calvin, what do you think? What do you think for your own collection? Do you prefer? Do you prefer the ability to pose a figure, or have it more based in the real? So seamless versus jointed kind of conversation. What do you normally lean towards when you buy a figure? Is these seams on this figure something that is kind of immersion breaking for you? What are your thoughts there?
Usually I like more realism, screen accurate. This one is a little unsightly with the joints, but I mean, his arms are exposed, so what would you expect? I mean, at the end of the day, you realize that these are toys, and it is what it is. It's a catch-22 with this one, because the head sculpt is great, but then you look at the rest of the body, you be like, I don't know. But ultimately, for me personally, I wouldn't get this just because I didn't care for the movie across the board. So Valkyrie is probably the only figure I ever plan to get from this line. Outside of that, I'm cool. And it sucks because I'm a huge Christian Bale fan. So it sucks not to get this one, but it wasn't right.
Totally. Well said. Guys, let us know in the chat, is Gore the God Butcher coming to your collection? Like it is for Classy Thomas. I'll be excited to see his take on it once he gets it in person. I do feel like this is one of those figures that once you have it in your collection, you pull it out of the box, you take a close look at it, you will fall in love with it, especially if you liked the version of the character. It's going to definitely stand out in the display. And I'd be curious if this guy becomes, something like a Hela in the future, where, people rejected Hela, they didn't buy her, and then eventually she sold out, and now she's been a chase for everybody for so long. It's just crazy aftermarket pricing. Better movie, in my opinion, but still the character was really cool, and a lot of people chose to pass on her. So I'd be curious if Gore ends up becoming kind of a similar scale of character or not, for people in the future, especially. Not a good reason to buy with the hopes that it becomes a Hela, but you never know. It's a nice surprise when it happens. So I'd definitely be curious to see what you guys think. Now, Pete, I would say you're, up there in terms of one of our bigger Star Wars folks here. Have you seen the Clone Wars and Rebels and stuff, or more of the original trilogy and stuff?
No, I have tried. I started watching Rebels with my son and didn't really get into that. I have more recently given Clone Wars a go. I don't mind it. It's not bad. Again, like there's some real kind of crazy annoying Jar Jar stuff in there, and I think. A lot of the episodes are kind of are very throwaway, and I know they're sort of aimed at a younger audience and stuff. When you get ones with some meaty story, and like when Cad Bane came in and stuff, I enjoyed that. But my son sort of went off it, so it's very much like it's not something that I'm really sort of desperate to get back to myself. If he wants to kind of carry on watching it, I'll watch it with him. So I don't know too much about this guy. I think he looks pretty cool. Is he trying to be? Is he doing it as a homage to Darth Maul because he loves him and he wants to look like him?
So this comes from the Siege of Mandalore, where Darth Maul has a pretty successful campaign during that siege, and so he essentially has his group of I want to call it his army or his soldiers essentially dress up the Mandalorian armor to kind of showcase that Darth Maul look, and I think it's a really, really cool look for a figure, especially. I think him paired up next to a Maul would be awesome. The other thing I noticed here is that he comes with that Paz Vizsla little energy shield, which made me laugh because it's like if you have the original Heavy Mandalorian and you only wanted to buy the new Heavy 2.0, the Paz Vizsla, for that little energy shield, well, maybe skip on that one and save your coin for a new figure that also comes with the shield if you want to display it that way. For me, this, I gotta say, Pete, is a skip though. I've even got a Darth Maul sitting on throne from the Solo film, the Solo Maul. Awesome figure, absolutely love it. I totally could see these two standing kind of side by side next to him, and I think it would be a great display. But I'm not a deep enough fan of that original, like of the Clone Wars and that kind of mythology, that I feel like I needed in my collection.
No.
But it's super standout and really, really funky. Yeah. And next to Maul, I can totally see why people would want it.
The gun's a bit funny because it's all kind of gold and glittery. It looks like it's
interesting.
Like confetti cannon.
It's a glitter cannon, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Poof. Yeah, that's it.
Love to see that. I also know that some collectors out there just collect shit because it looks cool. And you might not even need to have a connection to this character to think this is cool enough to put in the collection. I could get that as well. This, for me, is almost just a shout-out, Marco16Fix. He has a show called Bargain Bin Bros on Friday mornings occasionally. This would be a Bargain Bin Bros contender for me. If I saw this at some point at a good deal and I was like, ooh, he'd look cool beside Maul, then I think I would consider it. But it would come to price for me and display space before it would be character and my love of the content that he comes from. Jose, what are
Joao
your
would get
thoughts
mad
here?
at you, by the way. Joao would get mad
that's
at you
okay.
if you want to put this super commander next to your Maul from Solo. It's not gonna
Especially if
work.
it's solo Maul. Yeah, it's not. That's not canon at all. You hate to see it. Joao's always a little mad at me though, so that's okay. We're okay. What are your thoughts on the Mandalorian Super Commando here, Jose?
I mean, it looks really cool. Like you said, they're loyalists to Maul when he took Mandalore as the ruler. Yeah, right? So they're cool. I don't think I have Clone Wars Maul, so I had the same thought you did. I was like, hey, it would look pretty cool next to Maul. But I think for now, I actually tend not to buy kind of like troopers or Mandalorians without any like actual characters. So I tend not to buy those. Maybe eventually down the line, but like you said, there's so many things on order to kind of divert from your initial plan to get something different. I usually try not to. I try to stay focused on what I am collecting. So this is really cool, and but I like I said, it's one of those things. It's like if I got this one, then I might want to get two, and then it's like it's just I start army building, and it's just too much. I can't go down there.
That's fair.
Okay.
I'm kind of in the same boat. I hear that. But again, bargain bin bros, sometimes it hits you at the right time. Sometimes
Yeah.
there's that lull between figures, and you make bad purchasing decisions, but still end up being awesome. It's hard to say. X-Men Supreme says, 3 of my 38 figures are Star Wars. I wasn't going to get a whole bunch of, but this Ahsoka line. And like, he's not wrong. This Ahsoka line has been pretty freaking awesome so far. We got It's Randall in the chat with us, says, let's get nuts. You love to see it. Thanks for joining with us here, buddy. Definitely appreciate you. We still have just under 40 people in the chat. Just a reminder here, we got about 10 minutes left of the show slides, and then we're going to talk quickly about what the channel member giveaway is going to be, as well as the subscriber giveaway. So stick with us for another 10-15 minutes here, guys, so you can see what that looks like. Again, channel membership link there for you in the event you want to become one of our Tough Nut crew. But also let us know what your thoughts are in the chat, of course, with regards to Mandalorian Super Commando. Is this one that is coming to your collection, and why? Is it because of the storyline with Maul and Siege of Mandalore? Is it just because it's cool looking and you want to put it in the collection? All points are valid in my opinion, but I would love to hear from you guys in the comments on this video if you can. Now, Calvin, I want to go to you first, I think, on this next one, because we're talking here about Mommy Wanda. And we're talking that mean, of course, when I say Mommy Wanda, the multiverse of madness Wanda that has come. And this has been one of my most heavily anticipated figures for about a year now. I actually really enjoyed the experience of watching Multiverse of Madness with my mom, Rachel Miller, that was in the chat earlier, seeing it with her in theaters. I immediately wanted to pick up something from that memory to have for a little bit of nostalgia in my collection. So Wanda is going to be the gal for me, and I've got her on the way. Hopefully she comes pretty soon. In my opinion, I do think that this is the strongest likeness to Wanda Maximoff that I've seen. I do like it more than the Artisan version, the Endgame Artisan that's coming, and that's maybe a hot take because I know a lot of people are really excited for that one as well. And I do feel that it's superior to the WandaVision version that we recently just got in our collections. Last thing to say, I also really like the outfit here. I think the detail on the outfit's amazing. I love that you get the different hair sculpts. I think that's fantastic. Just how pale she is and gaunt she looks, to me, is perfect for what the film looked like. And some of the details, like the black fingers from her touching the Darkhold, I think also is amazing. So, Calvin, is this one that's coming to your collection? How many Wandas do you even have, if you have any? What are your thoughts here on Wanda?
Okay. So I skipped this one because I got the WandaVision Shogun because I was trying to fill a void for my in-game collection, right?
Of course.
This one's absolutely gorgeous. She's beautiful. I already have the Civil War one. The biggest slap in the face is that they finally came out with the in-game version, 5 years later since in-game finally hit. So, and I need that base that lights up. I need that base. So I'm gonna have to get that one. Artisan to get that one. But the more I look at this, the more I'm like, I wish I had gotten it. I just don't need 4 Wandas in here. That's the problem. So I'll live vicariously through you guys and whoever else decides to get it. But I think this is a great pickup.
Absolutely. And you mentioned that it's funny you say that, how many Wandas do you need? And I've asked the same question about Darth Vader recently. Like, how many Wandas does a collector need?
Vader's on a different level though. That's iconic
True.
all time. You see a picture of Vader across all the globe, you know exactly who that is, and you hear Earl Jones' voice in your head just seeing the image. I don't need four Wandas though. Like Wanda ain't on that level.
That very much makes sense. Absolutely. I wanted to pull this up because you mentioned that you've got the WandaVision version there. It's Randall says, "How dare you ban all the Vaders?" Yeah, fair enough. And he also says, "5 Wandas is the answer to my question." That's also valid. This is from an Instagram post from, and I apologize if I mess this up, Azuki's_toy, where he's got the Multiverse of Madness version paired up next to Wanda from WandaVision. I still gotta say, I think my point stands. I think I like the Multiverse of Madness version better. I see the likeness to her more there. But I mean, it's again, art is subjective. I can also see, in the Wanda version, Vision version, I should say, that's when she's really getting her power, like really supered up. But she's still a hero character in that at the end. Whereas I think people didn't love necessarily seeing her be the villain of Multiverse of Madness, but I loved her sheer power and her scary presence from that film. Hard to argue there. So yeah, I still think for me, I'm happy with my choice. But does this change your thoughts?
I can't argue with you about the likeness. They clearly made an improvement between the two. I still like the one on my shelf though. Like the hands light up. Yeah. I like, again, I'm a sucker for things that light up. So the fact that I didn't even realize that until I actually got her in hand and realized I was like, oh shit, there's lights in here.
Cool.
So I do like that. But like I said, I would have 4 at that point, and then it's like, because of Civil War, she's got a section with the Civil War with that whole ensemble. I would have 2 that was just, I guess I could just put them in the movie section if I were to get all of them. They would be in there with John Wick and The Crow and Blade and everybody else just for movie references. Because I wouldn't need 2 of her in the in-game section, but
that's right.
I guess I could get away with putting her in the Infinity War.
Oh, see, he's getting tempted now. He's talking himself through it. You love to see it. I'm gonna get a text at 3:00 in the morning tonight, be like, "Damn you, Ben! Damn you!" That's awesome. We got How You Figure here says, "Can't wait for this figure to come in. Incredible figure. Getting this one for Scarlet Witch version." And the Endgame one for the Wanda version. Interesting. Gotta love it. For me, I do actually truly feel like one Wanda for me is enough. I don't necessarily just have to see her as the Multiverse of Madness version. I still think she just looks badass. And, Liz Olsen there is beautiful, and I think it really captures really well. We also have Christian Detour Collections here. Good to see you, buddy. It says, "Morning, fellas. Just waking up and getting nuts with us here first thing in the morning. Make sure you have your coffee. Don't dip your nuts in it too aggressively, okay?" Jose, tell us what your thoughts are here on Wanda from Multiverse of Madness. Do you think that this is now the definitive version, when people like to say the word definitive? I know you have arguments on that word sometimes.
Yeah.
And what do you think about people potentially getting this before even the Endgame Artisan version comes out? What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, like I've told you before, using the word definitive is hard for me, because it's like definitive based on what? I mean, it's just based on your collection. It's different, right? Everyone has a different collection. So if, they might not fit what you currently have. So, or what the aesthetic that you're going for, or what you like. So I don't really, I can't really say in particular, but for me, this one, I think it has the tiara, it has the likeness that the joints are not like the WandaVision one. So because of the long sleeve, I know I had the WandaVision on order because I did initially like that one, and I was going to get that one. But once there was that one got delayed several times. Once it got delayed, and this one was announced, I said, I'm going to go for this one, mainly because of the reasons of the joints and the likeness. I felt it was improved, an improved figure, which now that we're looking at the release, it definitely is. So for me, yes, I think that's the Wanda that I want. But again, those who have the Endgame version on order, whether it's the artisan or the sculpted version, it might fit your collection better, because that's the display that you have, right? So, to go ahead and quote Joao again, it wouldn't fit It's not the accurate movie, right? So you wouldn't want to get this one and put it in your endgame display. You'd want the other version. So, like I said, it depends on what works for you and your collection. For me, I think this is the one I have it on order. This is the one I'm going to get. This is the one I'm going to keep. This is the one I want in my collection.
See, Joao didn't, Big Bretta there, he didn't send me one of those Joker remote control things the other day like I asked him to. So I'm not going to give him free props on the show anymore. Joao, if you're watching this later on, every time we've mentioned your name, that's an additional $2 that you need to send me in life. Or you can definitely send me the remote control if you want. It's totally up to you, buddy.
He's a stickler for things, man. He still keeps bugging me about the Nirvana thing. He wants me to send him a song. He wants me to sing him the song. It's like, yeah, he won't stop. Yeah.
Also, I want to shout out a very special guest in the chat with us here as well. We've got Costa from Pop Culture Living Room. He says, yo, what's up? Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for joining in on Let's Get Nuts. I know he and I haven't been on many streams. I don't even know if we've ever actually been on the same stream at the same time. But to me, he's got one of the best voices out there for the community, both for his advocation of not necessarily spending the big bucks, but finding ways to still creatively, make a display under a budget. His Costa cases have gone wild on his YouTube channel, and I know a lot of people have those in their displays. If for some reason you guys have been living in the dark and have never heard of this man's channel, please, after the show today, go and take a look. Awesome dude. And again, love your voice as well, buddy. Maybe that's a weird compliment, but it stands out to me just as a person in the world. So go and
One
check
last
out
thought.
Costa. Yeah, go ahead.
One last thought. You guys were mentioning that the WandaVision one is the hero versus this one's more of the gone bad Wanda. I would argue that the people from Westview who were trapped under the brainwashing that she did don't think she's a hero. So
Yes, very true. You're not wrong. She kind of messed those people up a little bit.
yeah.
You are
Then
not wrong.
I always felt like the finale. I mean, I don't want to get into the whole thing, but the finale. What's her name? The girl from the Marvels. I'm forgetting her name. I'm totally
Monica
blanking.
Rambeau.
But she was in the Monica.
Monica
She
Rambeau.
tells. Yeah. She tells her. There's a line in the show that she says, "They'll never know what you went through. They never know what you suffered." I'm like, what are you talking about? She literally brainwashed them for months.
I love Monica Rambeau, though. I would definitely get a figure.
Yeah,
of
she's
her.
cool. She's very cool.
She's very cool. Classy Thomas, what about you, buddy? Is this, I know, I should say this. Jose comes up with very good reasons for why the word definitive makes no sense. But I like to still ask, what's your definitive Wanda for your collection if you're going to put one in it anyways? Why is this one maybe one to consider or not for you?
I don't have a definitive Wanda, but when I think of the Scarlet Witch, I do think of this one because this is the one where she first was given a moniker of Scarlet Witch. And when I also looked at this figure, I know a lot of people have complained about her joints, but when I first received her and went through her thing, I was looking at her. I was like, oh man, I want to put her cape on, because when I think of the Scarlet Witch, especially from the comic books, I think of she always had a cape. When I put this one on, I said, oh, the light up hands and this cape is probably might be joint reasons why they needed to go with a jointed version, because when you put on this cape, it completely disguises the shoulder joints. It covers them up completely. And when you put the batteries in there for the light up hands, they couldn't have done that with this seamless version.
True.
So I think I kind of understand it, and I would have only displayed her with the cape on anyhow. The only problem I have is that when they made this cape, this plastic piece right here, when they put this on there, it's so thick and so heavy, and so rigid, that sometimes when you try to raise her arms and things like that, it makes her head pop off.
Oh, really? Oh my god.
Because that happened to me the other day. I said, because of the sculpted hair, the sculpted piece right here for the thing, it makes it difficult to like raise her arms and stuff up. And when you do that, it raises up that plastic piece, which makes her head raise up, and sometimes it pops off. So that's the only issue that I have with this version of Wanda. However, I mean with this version of the Scarlet Witch rather. The artisan version of Wanda, and I actually have the sculpted version coming. I see that as Wanda. I see this version as the Scarlet Witch, and I see this version as the Scarlet Witch. But the thing I love about this version of her from the multiverse of madness is that it kind of reminds me of when in the comic books, when one of the many times that she's kind of gone mad, she got possessed by Chthon, which is Chthon is actually referenced in Multiverse of Madness. But she was actually possessed by him, and she took over all the Avengers, and she kind of lost her mind. And it was on Mount Wundagore, which is where they were in the Multiverse of Madness.
Right.
So I kind of see this as kind of like her transition. So when I see those three figures, for me, I think if I were going to pick a Scarlet Witch, this is the one, the Multiverse of Madness is the one who really looks like and embodies Scarlet Witch. But I'm glad that I have the artisan version of Endgame, WandaVision, and Multiverse of Madness, because it kind of shows her transition.
Yeah.
And I may wind up doing a Wanda display
That'd be cool.
and showing that with her and then the different versions of Vision. I may actually do that to kind of show that transition.
Some of your favorite comic runs, even maybe in the back, like
Yeah,
if there's
exactly,
a cover
yeah.
that you like or whatever. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, so I'm kind of thinking I might go with that because it really was a it really was an art for this character in the MCU, and I'm kind of leaning into that. So I'm kind of glad that I have the three coming. But if I had to just pick one, I think the Multiverse of Madness is the one that really she looks phenomenal, and she looks ominous, which is how the Scarlet Witch kind of is, because you have a woman who has all of this power, but she also has a very fragile mind because she's been hurt so often.
It's been hurt so bad.
that it kind of like, she could tip either way, and that's how she kind of was in the comic books. I mean, when she said no more mutants and all the mutants on Earth disappeared. I mean, they all lost. I mean, 99% of them got depowered.
Was that during the House of M, if I'm not
House of
mistaken?
M, yeah.
Yeah.
And so she kind of has been portrayed a little bit as a villain to people. The mutants definitely saw her as a villain, and even the Avengers kind of saw her as a little bit as a villain because she was so easily manipulated because of her delicate mental status. Absolutely. But I'm digging this figure. I'm looking forward to getting her, and I can't wait to get the three of them in the display and just kind of play around and figure out how I want to show them off.
Dude, well said. All great thoughts. Classy as always. Good sir. I'm excited to even just have another female figure in my collection. I was just looking around quickly because I don't have that many yet. Like I've got Bo-Katan, I've got Wonder Woman. I think that's the only two female figures I have right now. Like that's insane. That's clearly not enough representation. And what a badass actress, what a badass character to have in the display. So
100%.
to me, like I'm already feeling it. To me, like, I mean, we're still early in the year. It's only February or March now. Let's be honest. But to me, this has figure of the year contender on it at least. It's going to be it's going to be up there.
Ben, I like to call that her crack pipe chambers
There
finger.
you go. Oh my God.
And as you know, I'm like a big autograph collector as well. So I have a Liz Olsen autographed photo
you do?
of her in this outfit. So
That's
and then I want to get this framed. It's like a reprint, but it's a reprint of the X-Men number 4, first appearance of the Scarlet Witch. So I'd want to put this one right there too. So.
Heck yeah, dude. Heck yeah. That is a flex right there, even just in itself. Reprint or not, that's going to look really, really cool, man. So, and I love the way people put their displays together and everything. So let us know, guys, in the chat. Is the the Multiverse of Madness version, Mommy Wanda, coming to your collection? Tremble Dust says, hashtag Ben appreciate women more. Love to see it. That's very sexist in my opinion. I hate to see it. I'm trying, people. Okay, I'm trying. Let's be honest. So, guys, thanks for sticking with us here. We got 45 people in the chat. Again, if you haven't forgot, or if you've already forgotten to hit the like, and you can do so, please do so. Always very much helps. Guys, I want to get on to our channel giveaway. Now, we're not going to give this away today, but I wanted to get the opinion from the chat. We have 24 channel members right now. Lovely folks. $1.99 for the channel membership if you're interested in becoming a channel member. I recently purchased a new figure of the Crow. It's a new, I'm going to keep mine. I've got a second one in my collection here, ready for giveaway, as well as a new King Shark in my display. So guys, let me know if you're interested, this or that, for channel member giveaway. What would you rather be the first giveaway? Is it this? Is it that? Tell me in the chat, tell me in the comments after this video, and then the majority will win. I will put the figure up as soon as we hit 30 channel members. We will give away a figure to one of those lucky 30 channel members. Okay, guys, if you're interested in getting in on the giveaway and also becoming part of our Tough Nut crew, please consider becoming a member going forward there. Now, also, it's very easy to hit the subscribe button, but subscription here, on YouTube doesn't cost anything, right? And so I do want to still shout out subscribers here. So when we do the channel member giveaway, we're also going to do a subscriber giveaway for a $100 Sideshow gift card. Now, I'm in Canada, so it is a little hard for me to actually get a physical card. What I'll end up doing is giving you guys a code to Sideshow with those dollar points on there as well.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, so hopefully those are exciting for folks. Please let me know either way, just so you guys are aware. I'm not affiliated with any companies. I don't have any of those yet. I've been offered some affiliations up till now. I haven't decided who I'm going to go with yet. So for now, this giveaway comes out of both my own money as well as the channel member money that goes into the channel, super chats that go in every month and everything like that. So using the channel to give back to the channel, as well as some of it coming out of my own money, just because it's fun. I like talking to you guys, and I want to give back a little bit. We're going to be at 4,000 subscribers, hopefully, in the next month or two. It's going up really, really quickly there, so thank you again for everybody's support as well. But let me know, again, please, guys, in the comments, this or that in terms of the Crow or the King Shark in terms of membership giveaway there. And then when we hit 30 members, we will give that away. For the Tough Nut crew, the 24 members that we already have, I want to shout out and say a very big special thank you to these folks. Alvin J, Collecting Weekly, Money Mendez, Six Scale Mafia, Katera, Feezy's Figures, King Dingaling, Sith Scale Collector, Paul Schreiber, The Batman, The Movie Canon, 1/6 Figure Focus, SpongeBob Square Balls, The _ Empire Strikes, Peter Cass, Ryan Smith, Collector Joey, Sam Gist, 14 Wellington, Jose G. Hernandez, 12-inch Moose Stream, Collection Obsession, Blur Dad Life, and Danny Spotchka. And I want to just say a big special thank you to Honest Hansel, who is also a fellow Albertan, so Canadian. Love to see it. Hope you enjoyed the show today. He said he looks like Pete's doppelganger. I can kind of see that actually a little bit. I'm not going to lie, but thank you so much for becoming a channel member as well. I will put you on the list here. You're now our 25th member, which means we're only 5 members away from me being able to give something away, which is very, very exciting. And of course, Honest Hansel, this is for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, good sir. We definitely appreciate you here. And welcome to the Tough Nut crew. Guys, once again, just as a reminder, if you are part of our Tough Nut crew, these are some of the emojis that you get a chance to put in to the channel here on the stream when we're having fun. Make sure you guys use that Nutbuster logo. I know Dean worked really hard on that one, as well as the nut button and the jumbo. You guys see me doing the jumbo to you guys as you roll in, and I have fun with all of those ones for sure. So guys, definitely use those if you can. And once you're becoming a member, Honest Hansel, now that you're a member, you will see the up-and-comer beside your name while you're in the chat with us. And as the longer you become, of course, a member, the more you will go through the ranks here. And I will update that ranking as we go along. But enough about that, guys. If you are here, you're already watching the Ben Thomas Show. If for some reason
got another new member.
Oh, geez, holy cow. What do we got here? We got Action in the Box. Yes, that's amazing. Thank you so much, good sir. I appreciate you. Again, if you have not seen Action in the Box's content on his channel, please go and do yourself a favor and check that out. They are some of the coolest displays I've seen in a long time. And I'm not just saying that. I honestly am like, man, I need to try and up my level of creativity in my own display. I did that recently with a gun rack behind the Punisher right now. I actually just posted that on Instagram yesterday. Check that out if you get a chance. But Action in the Box, this is for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, good sir. We definitely appreciate you there. Like I was about to say, if you are here, you're already on the Ben Thomas Show, watching the show here. But if you have not had the opportunity, please subscribe if you can. It definitely helps just drive engagement to the shows, and it helps me support other people that I get to stream with, like Collecting Weekly, Will Foxification, and so many more. It's hard for me to mention everybody. Also, take a look at who the friends of the channel are on the YouTube page, because then you can see a lot of the other folks that I support and the other channels that I support there as well. Okay, Classy Thomas, do you have anything coming up, good sir, that we can look forward to from you?
Yes, actually, I do. I've done some of my filming and editing of my turtles, and hopefully I'll be able to start editing and at least get a short out there. Nice. And I am also, I might have mentioned this on another stream. I have finally finished my Luke Cage.
Ooh. Oh, one sec.
Yeah, Luke Cage is done.
Nice. That looks awesome.
So now I can actually work on my Heroes for Hire.
Dude, that's awesome. That looks really good.
So once I'm gonna start getting some filming done really on them. Yeah. And then I can actually get my Heroes for Hire piece done and get a nice short done for them, and then maybe I'll try to do a filming of how I actually got them done. You know, what pieces I put together to kit bash them, and I finally also got my hair for Storm. And
that's not what I thought you were going to say.
Yes, I got my hair for Storm, and so I think I might eventually do a rerouting stream where I can actually show me routing, the process of routing that head cap, and show her process, because I think I want to do a nice old school Storm, which means I'm going to have to fashion her costume. And if I do, then I'll show everything I did, because this is good news for everybody out there. Bison has finally made brown skin bodies for females.
Nice. About time.
And so now that's how I got my Storm body. And so Bison has brown skin. They have 3 different versions. They have a tan, a brown, and then they have a one which is kind of like their the Egyptian gods, where they were kind of more in a black version. And those are really cool. I actually have an idea of some things I can do with that. So yeah, so there, it's awesome, and yeah, I can't say no. So I'm looking forward to starting work on Storm. But I want to get my Heroes for Hire filmed and done before I actually get started on another project. I need to get some things actually up on film. So hopefully within the next week or so, I'll have a couple of shorts done, and then maybe I'll be able to do an actual version. And to Art in the Box out there, Action in the Box, I just want to let you know you are my inspiration, buddy. I still have an Art in the Box that I'm going to be working on. That one's going to be kind of special. It's not going to be my typical. It's going to be a 6 scale, but it's not going to be out of the typical versions I do. It's actually going to be well, it's hard to describe, so we'll just have to let that happen organically as it happens.
Okay, sounds good. Mr. Classy, I love you, buddy. Thank you so much for being here as always, man. It's always a pleasure to stream with you every single week when we get the opportunity to do so. And thanks for always participating so much for me and playing along with all of my warm-ups and fun things to talk about. Guys, let's go to Low-Key Collector. What do you got, Calvin, coming up, good sir, that we can look forward to from you?
What's my schedule? Pro V Chat Monday, Say What Wednesday, LWO Friday, Collector Lounge Sunday mornings, and if I have the time where the wife doesn't have me going here, there, and everywhere, I'm on the Nut Show with Ben and the guys.
Yeah, on the Nut Show. You love to see it. And it's so funny, too, because like I actually have a YouTube channel. We're literally on it together right now. And yet you stream way more every week than I ever could or I think even would, honestly. I would have like 0 social battery by the time we got to Let's Get Nuts Sunday. So
I work by myself in a box, so
this
gives me a chance to hang
gets
out
it out
with
of your
fellas.
system. I'm in sales, so I do talk a lot at work. Most of the time, I'm like, don't talk to me on weekends.
I don't talk at all, and if I do have to talk, I'm usually going off on somebody because of their lack of common sense. So,
well, that's the way she goes. Some of us just prefer sugary donuts. So, guys, Jose, we need to hear from you before we wrap this up. Anything coming up for you, buddy, that we can look forward to?
Not really. I mean, you'll always find me with Shane on the Monday on the Hope Show. So you'll find me there. So, and Calvin's been joining us. Yeah.
I forgot about
Calvin's
that.
been joining us last couple of weeks as well. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun. Eddie's usually always there as well. So, and the guys, we have a lot of fun. So, yeah, find me there.
I keep telling Shane he really needs to readjust his entire schedule so that I can join him occasionally, because 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Monday is impossible for me to join, but I don't think he likes me that much. So that's okay, because he's Irish, and I just love him anyways. It's the British versus the Irish, it's that age-old battle. But no, I'm just kidding. Shane, if you're watching, I love you, buddy. He usually watches on replay and gives me a presumptive like, which I always appreciate. But guys, that is the show for us today. I want to say a big thank you to my panelists who saved me from having to talk to myself for 2 hours. I love you guys. For everybody in the chat, the new members, the older members, even just the people who subscribe and just tune in and watch week over week. Guys, you don't understand how much I appreciate you showing up and being here and having some fun with us. I love you faces, of course. Classy Thomas, I think, good sir, it is safe to say we got nuts. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Wow, what a great audience. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because subscribing makes you feel good.
In case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.